Hey guys, big thank you to all the people that have gone on to their social media platforms and their podcast platforms and have given me some really good positive feedback about the show. I really appreciate it. I'm Dale Luganbill. This is the Full Scale Outdoors Podcast. In case you somehow accidentally stumbled on this, you're like, what is this guy talking about? Well, that's what I'm talking about. So if you haven't done so yet, man, I'd really appreciate it if you do that. I know on Apple Podcasts, you just go down, furthest right star that gives me 5 stars, leave a review. Really helps kind of spread the word and the way Apple then will like advertise that to other, not really advertise it, but like suggest it for other people if you're also listening to outdoor stuff. The more activity it gets there, the more reach I have. The more reach I have, the more guests I can get, and kind of brings legitimacy to the whole thing. As we all know, I'm faking my way through this. So with that, I got some help today with my host, who is also a host of a podcast. His name is Doug Glimmerveen, and he hosts the Smackdown Outdoors podcast, and it's pretty good. So if you're looking for another one, go ahead and search that in whatever your favorite podcast platform is, and subscribe to his, and check him out on Facebook. He has two, it's kind of like me in Full Scale Outdoors. I got my personal Facebook account, and then the business one. So he has Doug Glimmerveen on Facebook. Go find him. Do it right now. Well, not if you're driving, don't do it. And then Smackdown Outdoors podcast, like that page as well. And then we'll get into it. I had a really good time talking with this guy. He knows what he's talking about. Obviously, I would hope so, he's got a podcast. But we blended really well, or we matched really well, had a really good conversation. And so he's doing mine. In the future, I'm going to go do his podcast. So we're just doing a little cross-pollination, and I'm all on board for doing that. So give it a listen. Let us know what you think. Hop on the old Facebook there or whatever it is, and give us some feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. But, of course, we appreciate the good stuff. But, again, I want to thank people that have already done that. I have really gotten a lot of good feedback about the show, and that means a lot. I appreciate it, and keeps me striving to keep polishing this turd as much as I possibly can. So, all right, here it goes. This is the Full Scale Outdoors Podcast. Oh, here we go, boys.
Go.
Ooh, I love that sound. This is a good one. And we were rolling. So
it's a handy little unit. I like it.
It is pretty nice. If any other podcasters out there or wannabe podcasters, we got the Zoom H6 handy recorder, and it is handy.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself 4 headphones and microphones like I have here. I have no idea. Oh, I can look at them. I have them right here. What kind of microphones are these? Audio Technica, and that's all you get because I don't have a model number on them. So
I think it's on the ear, like the HBS ones or something.
I've
I've looked at them, and it's like, okay, so how much money do I really want to spend?
All this wasn't that much. I don't remember what the total price was, but it was a lot less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like a lot less.
My problem is that, and this goes back to, all my stuff I have. I can show you my camera collection. It's literally like a full-scale collection.
Really?
Oh,
full
God,
scale?
yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah,
nice.
oh, yeah. Full-scale outdoors.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I've got, 2 Sony AX2000s, 2 AX33s, 3 GoPros, 3 XLs, which are like GoPros, the A77 DSLR.
Oh,
Little hand.
I have a
It's
couple
stupid.
GoPros, and
Yeah.
I bought them used, which the one I think I just need to replace the battery because it says it's charged, but as soon as you turn it on, it shuts right off. So
Oh, well, tell you what, before you leave, if you got it with you.
I don't have it with me.
Oh, well, of course not.
Of course not.
That or,
Why would I
mem-
have-
that
why would
or
I-
memory cards.
Why would it? Yeah. I had to borrow a memory card from Doug.
Yeah.
So
Well, you
that's-
came to the right spot if you need any
perfect.
audio or video.
That will. I'll
equipment.
have to.
Yes.
I'll have to tap your brain on the video part of it because I haven't
Mhm.
even bothered trying to do that with the podcast. But I do have some projects coming up that we do want to film them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I'll. Who knows where this will go? But as of right now, I don't really plan on like videoing all the podcasts. I mean, kind of do it meat eater style. His are all just audio, and I kind of like it that way. I have a background in radio, so like I'm
so this is second nature to you.
Yeah, this is like I went to Brown here in Minneapolis for broadcasting and was in small market radio for a couple of years and had to get out of it because it's hard to get by on $20 a week. And, you know,
right.
And started a family, and it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It isn't. It's not almost. It is impossible. Like if you want to get into radio, like that's a single man or a single woman endeavor.
Yeah.
You support yourself living in an efficiency apartment, Suave shampoo, and eating ramen 5 times a week. You can get by, but
that's why everybody's like straight out of college goes into it. You know.
Yeah,
when they get into it, it's
that.
like straight out of college, and then after a while, it's like, well, you know, I used to do it.
Well, and people are like,
and then I got into something else because
like,
I wanted to make money.
I'm going to go to Vail, Colorado and just work in a local radio station and I can just ski every day, bro. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, the thing is, everybody wants to do that and they don't pay you dick.
Right.
Because everybody, that sounds great. Why? Yeah, so people that can afford to make less than minimum wage, they're going to take that gig. They can be a ski bum or, you know, and that goes across the board. Or if you go to Miami, or it wouldn't be Miami because you have to start on a small market, but maybe somewhere in Florida, somewhere warm and close to the beach. Those places, if they ever have a job opening, you're not going to make anything.
No, because everybody wants
snap
it.
up like that.
Yeah.
It's supply and demand. So that's why your first job is somewhere, you know, Podunk, Iowa, or middle of nowhere. I was in the middle of the desert, damn near Mexico. My first job was in Sierra Vista, Arizona. And, it was, I mean, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And just, I couldn't make a living at it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like, I want to say a very Al Gore type thing right now, but in my head, I almost invented the podcast. But I didn't do it. So for back then, when I got into radio, it was like digital editing had just become a thing.
Yeah.
Like the school I went to had just got one, and we toyed around with it a little bit. But then the following year class, they did away with reel to reel. They didn't even teach that anymore. But I learned how to edit reel to reel, cut, splice, because that's how most small market stations were doing it.
Yeah.
There weren't. I mean, the programs for putting the songs on digital media, they're like $10,000 just for the program.
Ooh.
So
I'm gonna stop complaining about my $80 a month.
Yeah,
on Adobe.
Right. Exactly.
For video and stuff.
I mean, that's not anything else. I mean, that's not your microphones, headphones. That is simply the program to put on your computer.
Oh my god.
To run it, and the wheels in my head started to turn. I was like, man, with this digital editing, you could do that. And even the internet itself was pretty new. That was back in the day when you turn it on, log onto the computer, and those horrible sounds would come out.
Oh yeah. How old are you?
I'm 45. I'll be 46 in May.
So I'm 38 in July. So
not
that far away.
Not too far, but I mean, I was like right at the beginning of it.
Yep.
And then email was a thing, and so I didn't think of it as like somebody, like a show that you would tune into. My thing was more radio based back then, because I was like, I could make, with that digital editor, I could edit like commercials. That was a big part of our job, was just making commercials for clients.
Mm-hmm.
And you would just do voiceovers and piece stuff together, add some music, maybe some sound effects, blah 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 blah. But small market radio, you're getting people right out of school. And if you listen to small market radio, like the advertising, it's not so bad anymore, because now they're basically doing what I was proposing. It was garbage. It's just hard to listen to.
Yep.
But I was like, as I got experience, I got better making commercials that weren't terrible to listen to. And that was actually something I was actually pretty good at right out of school. And that's how I got most of my jobs, actually, is they liked my production skills. And so I thought, man, why couldn't I, if I could afford this editor, I could make commercials for radio stations across the country, and they could just pay me a small fee. It'd be much more beneficial for them to hire me to do it than to go spend $10,000 themselves.
Yep.
And I could just sit here and make commercials all day long.
Yeah.
And then I always thought about how I was going to pitch to this small market local station, like we should do an outdoor show, like a fishing and something. And I just never got off my ass to do it. So that didn't go anywhere. So I was like right there,
so close, yeah, and
so close, but I also couldn't afford the $10,000.
Well, yeah, there's that too, yeah.
So
well, it's funny because now
close yet so far.
You can do all that stuff on a freaking iPad or your phone. I mean, we can
Set
make a podcast on our phone right now.
I've listened to some of them; they're not that bad.
No, as long as you got a good mic.
I think Rogan's done it. I think Steve Rinella's done it. They just set it down.
Yeah.
hit record on voice memo. I mean, that's it.
Well, I did that. I was over at my buddy's house, and his old man and his old man's fishing partner was there, and we were just eating dinner or whatever, and I just hit my voice recorder on the old Samsung, and they just went off. And I'm going to put it out as a episode at one point, just so everybody knows. If you do listen to my show, guess what? That will be full of explicit
expletives.
Expletives, because those are two
Parental
old,
advisory.
salty fishermen that don't give a damn what anybody thinks.
That's I put that on every single one of my shows because I just don't know when and if I'm gonna swear. Like I don't swear on purpose.
Right.
Like it's just part of my vernacular. So it just comes out.
Yeah. I try to keep my shows PG-13.
Sure.
Just because I want kids to listen to it. Because
Right.
there's I'm not that I'm trying to be like life lessons and everything, but they're going to learn life lessons.
Sure.
We're going to talk about things. So I want kids to listen to it. And then actually I was talking to my grandpa the other day who lives out in Reno. And his nephew and his wife were there, but they're still like, my grandpa's 90, so they're probably 70s, whatever. And apparently she's listened to the show. And I go, and this is kind of why I want to keep PG-13 for the most part, because I go, so is it, was it clean enough for you to listen to? She goes, oh yeah, I haven't heard anything that I was offended by yet. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm trying to keep it that way. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you're all right. Yeah, I mean, if I drop, I listened to yours with Joe Heinz. And
Sure.
Joe Heinz on Snapchat and social media is an animal.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Just an animal. He doesn't
great.
care what he says,
Nope.
who he offends. But when he was talking about it, he goes, I know how to turn it on and off and everything.
Right.
And if I've used the F word I think 2 or 3 times, but it was to prove a point.
Sure.
In like off microphone, I throw it around like a sailor.
Sailor,
I don't care. It's part of my vernacular.
Right,
But
right.
if I'm using that word,
That's a great word.
it is. It's perfect, especially when you don't use it a lot.
It's so versatile.
Yeah. Well, there's the old, what was it? Which in speech class, a buddy actually took that speech where, like, Bobby blanks this and blah, explains the different words for it, or different uses for it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just try to keep it to the point where if we do say it, people go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, hold
then
on.
you get
Let me listen to that again. Yeah. Yeah. Not that I'm trying to be super Mr. Clean, but there's a time and place.
There is a time and place for it, and that's fine. It's like when I went into making my podcast, even in its conceptual thing, it was always like when we were in the goose blind or you're in the fishing boat or at deer camp or whatever it was, and the conversations you're having with your buddies at the time. Mm-hmm. You're not censoring yourself.
No.
And so I kind of like there's enough of the squeaky clean ones out there that I felt there's plenty of them out there. I don't need to be one of those. So I thought my idea was just to let's try to keep it as natural as it is. And just like in real life, if I end up talking to somebody at the bar or another fisherman at the dock or whatever, it's not always blue conversation. It's not always swearing and dirty jokes and whatever, since you kind of gauge the person you're talking to. And in fact, if they're a perfect stranger, you're probably not just going to let F-bombs fly out of your mouth. So
But if Ted Nugent comes into my podcast, you think I'm gonna tell him to say don't say the F word?
Don't swear.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, well, it's Ted Nugent, so guess what I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
Take this opportunity to let all the F bombs fly I want, and nobody's gonna look at me different.
Well, and look at Heinz.
Not that they're gonna care, but
and so Heinz's fans, the social media fans, they are obviously well versed in how he is on there and crazy. And if I presented him as something different, they'll be like, what is this garbage?
Yeah.
And
it's not even
you
that
need to stay true to that.
It's not even that I'm trying not to say it. But with my guests, if they're not,
sure, you're just aware of it.
I just don't do it either. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So,
and that's, I even when I'm letting it fly, I'm still cognizant of it. And that's kind of like the radio part. It's not so much like the censorship, but it's like just being aware of while you're doing it, the quality of the broadcast.
Right.
Like, is it just F-bomb every other word and it's a fill-in? Am I using it as a crutch?
Exactly.
One of the things I learned
like a comedian
when I first started doing this is, and as I listen to other podcasts, there's a thing, and it's not even just podcasts. It's actually it's become a piece of social vernacular, if you will. If somebody's trying to explain something, they'll end every sentence with, right?
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
Yep, so you know what do. So how you get your boat to work well is, right? You want the thing to run and smooth, right?
Yep.
So you hear right. I started doing that without even knowing I did, and it wasn't until I started recording this podcast and I listened back to it. I'm like, I gotta stop saying that.
Mine is so.
It sounds terrible. Oh, that's
So,
yeah.
And
That's a hard one to not do.
Yeah.
That's better than when people end in so. So I was out fishing. We did this, and the weather was just crappy. So
yeah.
and it tails off, and it tails off. Like that's like what is that even?
So now we're just going into no man's
land. I didn't know how to end it, so awkward pause.
All right, good talk. Good talk.
That's good stuff.
Strange.
That's just good stuff. So I'm hyper aware of that. Well, I didn't think this was going to be a how-to podcast episode, but I guess it's not that surprising if you think about it.
Well, as far as like
you have a podcast.
Yeah, well, when it comes to podcasting, I think everybody should start one. Everybody.
It's great.
It's
there's enough room out there for everybody. If you have
information,
yeah,
do it, and that's why we're here together.
Right.
Because I talked to Patrick Patches Olson from The Broken Line, The Broken Line is no longer going to happen for whatever reasons, but he's going to start his own. And I met him at the ice fishing show, and he goes, "Hey, look, we need to work together because all these YouTubers, they do it and they smash.
Yeah.
They absolutely crush.
Yep.
So we need to work together. So we've been trying to do something together with me and him, but he's in Bemidji. Yeah, Bemidji, pretty far away. But yeah, that's why I reached out to you.
Yeah.
I listened to some of your episodes, and I'm like, dude, I got to get a hold of them, and we got to do something. So everybody should start one.
Yeah.
And guess what? The ones that suck are going to go away. The ones that are good are going to stay, and everybody can listen to them.
I am very thankful for the ones that suck because
yes, it makes mine much better.
Well, not even so much that, but it got me off my ass to finally do it because for so long it just floated around in the conception stage, and I'd listen to some of these. I'm like, and some of them, I won't mention any names, but some of them are
you can tell me off
very popular. Like they're actually
there's
they
some
get a
that
lot of downloads, and I'm like,
can I just say the Ron Burgundy podcast in my eyes sucks?
I haven't even listened to it.
It's Ron Burgundy for however long, like from the movie.
Is it really?
It's too much.
Is it Will Ferrell actually?
Yes.
Oh,
it's
really?
actually him in the Ron Burgundy.
Actually, it would be pretty funny, but I've never been the biggest Will Ferrell fan.
Well, Anchorman was hilarious.
It was.
Anchorman 2 was
He is over the top for me most of the time, but with that said, my favorite Will Ferrell movie is Elf because his ridiculousness works.
I can't stand that movie. Hate it. I've watched it once.
Oh, you got to watch it more than once.
No, I've watched it once.
It's one of those
done.
that gets funnier the more you watch it.
I'll just turn on Christmas Vacation.
That's a pretty good one, too.
And get that over with.
Well, can't beat that. I got no arguments against that. That's classic.
How long were you thinking of doing a podcast? Like how from the moment you're like, maybe I should do one to like, when you actually bought the equipment, we'll say.
Probably shortly after I first stumbled upon the Joe Rogan experience, and I actually got in on Joe Rogan like pretty early on. I've been listening to him for years and years and years and years. Because I watched his show, Joe Rogan Questions Everything, on satellite or cable or whatever, and then that canceled, and then he had this Joe Rogan experience. I mean, I think I got into it at like episode 8 or something.
Oh,
yeah,
so you've been there from the beginning.
I'm a fan from like way back. But I just right away got sucked into it, and I'm glad to see it take off because that tells me that mentality is out there and people want that kind of just sitting down, having a conversation with somebody.
Well, people
exploring ideas.
Yeah, people want content, especially in the outdoor worlds. They're looking for tips. They're looking for tactics. They're looking for stories. They're looking for content. So the more we can give them, the better.
Right.
Even if it is just telling a story from camp or the boat or whatever, or how we got into podcasting about the outdoors. People want to hear it.
Yep.
Because it gives, if you're at work, you got nothing to do. Like I drive a route truck. I fill vending machines for a living.
Sure.
I got earbuds in all day long, 8 hours a day.
Yep.
I'm listening to podcasts.
Podcasts are great for that.
Yeah, right now I'm like running out of episodes to listen to for most of my podcasts, so I end up listening to Joe Rogan all day because I got into him about a year ago. So I'm still way behind everybody else.
Sure, but you're getting in at a good time where it's polished. I mean, he is polished at craft. I mean, obviously he's always good at talking because he was a stand-up comedian. But just like any broadcaster, he had his crutch sayings. He had his, whatever. And I mean, his show, as naturally as it comes across, is actually quite polished.
Yeah.
Like
you want
it's
a good
come a
drinking
long
game?
ways.
Want a good drinking game
Oh,
with this
God.
show?
Here we go.
Every time he says, "That's crazy."
Oh God, we'd get smashed
The first half
15
hour.
minutes.
I was like the last few weeks.
Or
I've been like,
100%.
yeah, 100%, bro. 100%,
Again, I put
100%.
that. When I would get into a debate. That's another thing I noticed that. Actually, I didn't really notice it. Somebody pointed out to me that I said it all the time. I'm like, do I say that all the time?
Yeah.
And then I'd start catching myself, and so now I don't think I say it that much. I try to say it only sometimes because sometimes it still makes sense.
Well, yeah,
makes sense. If somebody asks you something, you're like 100%.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to follow every single one of your opinions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. Well, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Well, it's funny because like my outro, the last thing I say, it used to be, all right, bye-bye, just out of habit. Like
Sure.
I say bye-bye. I'm a grown-ass man.
Sure.
Yeah. Bye-bye. I don't care. Well, then you listen to his ending, bye-bye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, all of a sudden one day it hits me. I go, damn it. Now I got to come up with something else.
Son of a-
So now it's like, I don't know, say, how do I end it? I go, go out there, shoot straight, catch a big one, and we'll see you later.
There you go.
Or we'll see you, or I'll go, bye.
I'm always just like, later.
Yeah. I don't know. I try to,
No,
most people aren't
it's a
even
good
listening
thing.
at that
It's some
point.
sort of branding. It's whether you have a tagline or an intro, like you got a little catchphrase, right?
Which one?
You're just
Oh, I'm just an idiot with a microphone, a camera, and a dream.
all right. There you go.
There you go. I start everyone with a
12 cameras.
Yeah, well, 12 or 13, whatever it is. I only have I started with one camera running during the podcast, and then I went to 3, one in the middle, both of us, one on, we'll say you, one on me, and I edited 2 episodes that way. And oh my God,
That would take forever.
Well, during the Bassmaster Classic, that whole weekend, basically I got off work about noon on Friday, I think, and I finally finished it Sunday late, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. Yep, because it was, go through one, and then another. It was horrible. So now I've got it down to 2, but I'm really only putting out 1. What I'm doing is basically that second camera on the guest. If they say something interesting or they tell a story,
Sure,
or
just highlight that.
when we do the recipe, I'll have somebody give me a wild game
Sure.
recipe, I can take that and not have me in it and put that on YouTube.
I got one for it. So when I do your podcast, I got a recipe for you.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
It's awesome. Snow goose tacos.
Snow goose tacos.
Man.
I've never tried snow goose.
Man.
We went out. I've been
So
snow
good.
goose hunting. Well, was it just once? One weekend, South Dakota. We got a few. It was. You're watching. At one point, we
When
stood
was
up.
it? Was this year or?
No, it was last spring, last year.
Okay, that wasn't a good hedge either.
Yeah, we were out just past Mitchell in whatever the next town is or something. I can't remember. But there was one point you could stand up and look out in the skyline and just see the black stripe across 360 all the way around us. And I'm like, sure. And where are we? In the middle. We're the bullseye in the middle of that circle.
You're in a good spot.
Yeah, but I did shoot my first goose, which was cool. I still have one down in the freezer. I got to take to the taxidermist.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to.
What is it?
Just a white snow goose.
Oh, it's
just
just a
normal,
white snow goose.
It's a big one though.
Yeah.
That's from what my buddies told me. I don't know. I've
Is
never
it a
seen.
grader? Well, you probably wouldn't know. You
Couldn't tell you. Yeah.
Did it look just like a regular, like a honker, only white?
No, it's not big.
Okay,
It's just
so
like a
probably
full
not.
mature snow
No,
goose.
it's
At
probably
least
just
that's what they told
a
me.
large, lesser, yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
It's like we shot a couple this year that were pretty big, and I'm like, this might be a grader, and I'm like, no, I don't think it is, because when you get they're somewhat rare in this flyway because they're on the eastern flyway, but we do get them. I've shot 2 of them in my career. That,
Nice.
no doubt, those
Band
were
or no band?
no band on those.
Oh, poor.
On the graders, which would have been pretty sick. But no, when you get your hands on an actual grader, you're like, yeah, this is a grader.
it's a big
You're
one.
like,
Yeah.
You don't go, I wonder if this is a grader. You're like, look at the size of this sumbitch.
Yeah,
This thing is
It's like,
huge.
This is a goose. With,
Yeah, you're like, wow.
Right.
And it's the bill that I notice more than anything. It's like the bill is just massive. You're like, wow,
Are
that's a
the
big bird.
graders got warts all over the bills too?
Nope, just Rossies
don't?
have the
Oh,
wart.
it's just Rossies.
Yeah.
See, I don't know much. Basically, my buddy's like, we're going snow goose hunting. I go, all right.
If it's white,
I have-
shoot it.
I have shotgun. I will travel. Yeah, so we go out there, and I'm just like, all right, well, let's set up a bunch of stuff, see if they come in, wear the earplugs, and then
Yeah.
you're annoyed by the
Earplugs.
e-collars all day long.
Yeah, drown that out. It's amazing when
Well,
we're
I got the
sitting there.
sound gears, so I hear everything.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But actually, I think I might have left the batteries out, if I'm not mistaken, so I wouldn't hear it all.
Yeah, those are pretty amazing, actually.
Oh,
the,
they
any
are.
of those. The first time I used hearing protection for like shooting, and you can turn it up. Like you can turn it up, and you can hear like a a ladybug chewing on a leaf. I swear to God. And then you shoot this loud gun. It's
Yeah, just
how does that work?
I don't know. They're fantastic. Yeah,
they are pretty sweet.
Sound Gear Wild Ear, I think. I think it's Wild Ear
or Game Ear or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, Wild Ear, and then Walkers. I mean, if you
they're all. I'm sure they're all pretty competitive.
I've got a pair of Walkers. I got headphones, and they work just as good as the Sound Gears.
Yeah.
Sound Gears, and the Sound Gears. I just have the cheap ones. I didn't get the custom molded ones yet.
Oh,
and they were great.
Yeah. Well, see, this is how this is how I get off on tangents, just like this.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Dude,
but I always
listen.
bring it up. I know they do. It irritates the shit out of my brother, though, which is fine because I kind of like
your
irritating.
brother. Who cares what he thinks?
Exactly. You hear that, Dan? Nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares what you think. A guy that I don't know. Buzz off. Just keep listening.
He did. He was on one. Actually, he did my. He was.
Which one was he on?
I let him sit in with the guy down in Florida.
The last one you just had on?
Yeah, the last one I just had on. So, it's just easy to do. But, like, I try to reel it back in.
Oh, yeah.
And I have no idea where we left the
road.
What
what are we even talking about today?
I don't even have no idea. It was.
Well, we're talking about snow geese. But then we started talking about podcasting.
Oh, recipe. So
the recipe.
And you hadn't.
Oh, that's right. Snow goose tacos.
You haven't had
yes,
snow goose
there
yet.
We go.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But if you run into somebody that like snow goose, they give you that bullshit recipe like, oh, you throw this in the pot with a leather belt, and then you throw everything away and eat the belt.
Yeah.
All you're telling me is that you do not know how to cook.
True.
When it comes to waterfowl, I will put snow goose up there with the best of them.
You got to know how to cook
delicious.
it, though. Yeah.
You know when it.
My first attempt, utter failure.
Yeah, probably dry and tough.
Terrible.
Yeah. See, I see you do know how to cook it, but I feel like saying that makes it sound harder than it is.
Right.
It's almost way easier than it should be. You're barely cooking it.
True.
You don't need to marinate it. You don't have to do all this stuff. When we're in the field, and a lot of times we'll camp right there, we'll set up tent or like sleep in the trailer or whatever. I'll breast them out right there and a little bit of olive oil, some chopped garlic, and salt and pepper.
Yeah.
You just cook that thing medium rare, let it rest, and it's done. Like,
was that you talking with Nick Johnson or somebody about like in the field care for ducks and stuff? How you actually put them upside down?
Yep, and I've started to
do
that.
The geese, yeah.
Yep, okay. And I guess I haven't really done. Maybe this fall, if I remember, I should do a taste test, like on purpose.
One upside
down.
Put
one belly down. Yep. Put one belly up. Keep track of those. Clean those. Cook them both side by side and just see.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense to me.
It does. Yeah.
Because that blood's going to drain out.
Yeah. It's like gilling a fish.
Yeah, and the other good thing about it is if you do get some shot in the guts, that bacteria, that's also draining out. And even before talking to Nick, I had heard what some people will do when they shoot a ptarmigan in Canada or Alaska is they don't even clean them right away. They'll leave them guts in because that bacteria actually kind of helps break down the guts, or break down the meat. But what they do is they do it belly up and they'll put it in their fridge for like almost a week before they clean it. Really? Guts intact and everything. Because apparently, and I haven't had ptarmigan, but ptarmigan are supposed to be really, really tough.
Yeah.
But all that bacteria in there kind of starts to break down that meat and makes it a lot more tender. But they stress breast up because if any of those intestinal juices do get into the breast meat, it'll spoil the meat.
Yeah.
So this way, everything's draining out
okay.
through any holes that are in the back, and then you just breast it out, and you got two clean.
See, the problem with me is that I'm going to have to try to talk my other 3, 4, 5 buddies into leaving all these geese belly up.
Yeah, I know. They like to, and I'm the same way. We used to use them as decoys. Oh, they're sleeper decoys. Well, listen, you shot those with the decoys you have. You don't need more.
Yeah, well, but then the same guys, and I love these guys, so, Andrew, if you hear this, whatever. But I can just hear him, son of a bitch. But the same guys talk about bringing out some snow goose decoys and mixing them in with your, normal Canadian goose decoys. Well, if you have a white belly or a white decoy, what's the matter?
Yeah.
And if they're within 40 yards anyway,
well, if you're worried about
shooting them.
You just tuck them behind your blind.
Yeah.
Or if you have sleeper shells, you just put a sleeper shell over it.
Well, that's what I think that's what I'm gonna do from now on. My
Super
geese,
easy.
belly up, hide them.
I can't wait for this coming fall. I mean, normally I'm excited for it anyways, but this year there's 2 things I'm gonna try. And if you listen to the podcast, you've already heard this, but I'm gonna put out some like 50 snow goose decoys for early season honkers.
Yep.
I'm going to have honker decoys too.
Yep.
But I'm going to set out the white spread, and I'm going to lay in all whites. Not brushing the blind, not doing none. I'm just going to see if it works.
Why wouldn't it work?
It works in the fall. When we go to North Dakota and we're shooting snow geese too, so we lay in this giant white spread just in whites, and we have honkers landing at our boots.
Birds see birds.
Why?
That's all they care about.
And if I don't have to brush in a blind, winning.
Right.
I mean, it's so much. You can just show up, take a handful of Silla socks, place them all around you, and backboard it.
Well, they would use those giant Canadian goose shells.
Oh yeah,
the max, like super max. They're like 5 feet or 4 feet. Or whatever.
Ridiculous. So they even have the flip up ones, like it's a layout blind.
So you're just underneath. A super max snow goose decoy.
Yeah,
that's all you.
Then the other one I'm gonna do, and this is just for the pure comedy of it, but I'm actually not gonna be surprised if this works and I shoot some birds out of it.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna duck hunt, wearing whites, out of one of those giant inflatable swans. Hopefully I don't
see you just rolling down the river in a giant swan shooting.
Just hopefully I don't puncture it.
I was gonna say you're gonna shoot the big head behind you.
I will be wearing my my PFD for sure that day.
I don't see why it wouldn't work. Well, here's the thing.
Hilarious.
Well, here's the deal. You're gonna smash them because if you were just floating down that river in that thing anyway, they don't care.
I'll probably do it like some swamp somewhere. But there's swans out there, and they're huge. And
just
I've been told,
max swan decoy.
I mean, I don't know how you even test this, but I've been told that that's why people use those Magnum decoys, is that birds don't have they can't tell size difference.
Yeah, their depth perception is
something like that.
Is horrible. Yeah.
I don't know that I believe that because, I mean, they have to land on the ground, and I feel like if your depth perception was terrible, you'd face plant a lot as you're coming in for a landing.
Well, yeah, but that's why geese land the way they do. Is that they try to slow themselves down as much as possible.
Sure.
Because they're kind of like, okay, slowing down.
Right.
I'm feeling
for
the ground.
There's your squirrel right there just going to town on that feeder.
Oh, it's all day, every day out there. It's a squirrel farm. It's the squirrel farm. That's
all. Get the squirrel launcher. These things are awesome.
Problem is okay, so outside my window here, we're in my living room. We got 2 bird feeders outside the window. My wife has this habit because her dad has that habit. He has I just call them squirrel feeders, all over his yard, and he feeds the squirrels.
Look at him go to town on those seeds.
Yeah, so we buy the house, and what's one of the first things she does? Has me put that thing up there so she can feed the squirrels. And he's just wrapped around laying in that thing.
He's just going to town.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, see? Here we go, digress. It's not as cool as mallards in your front yard.
I was just going to say, I still have some wildlife to look at.
There you go. It's something.
Every once in a while, I'll get down in the bottom here and just kind of creep up, so I just spy on them and I look at them. I mean, how often do you see a live squirrel up, close, a foot and a half away?
Yeah,
and just can watch them.
Pretty much a lot. They eat my feed too, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah,
I'll shoot them and then eat them. So whatever. It's a little bit different. I'm in the country. You're in town.
Yeah.
In the big town.
What's it like out in Stacy?
I like it. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
quiet.
It's quiet. It's not. It's quiet, but I'm pretty close to a fairly busy road. So,
okay.
Rush hour, it gets a little loud, but I can shoot shit off my deck. I can play loud music. I can do whatever I want.
Can you fill some tags off the deck?
I do. I have 7 acres, so
nice.
Well, not technically, legally, you can't do it from your deck, and I haven't deer hunted from my deck.
Okay.
But
haven't deer hunted from my deck.
Yeah.
All depends if the neighbors care.
All DNRs, they don't. I don't think they give a shit. In fact, I don't know any of my neighbors' names, and that's how I like it. I've met them all. I just don't retain their names, and it's like they're nice enough. But the one thing I like about the country is nobody's in each other's business.
Right.
You just do what you got to do, and nobody complains about the noise I make. I don't complain about the noise they may or may not make. It's like, whatever.
Right.
It's beautiful. And I'm 30, 35 minutes from either downtown.
Yeah, it's
so
not bad.
One of the funniest things, or I don't say funny, but interesting, is when I told people I was moving to Stacy, they're like, holy crap, you're going to live way out there. And if I told somebody I lived in Prior Lake, they were like, oh, it's really nice there.
Same distance.
You can't it's longer.
Yeah.
I don't know miles-wise it is, but you can't get anywhere from Prior
No.
Lake in 30 minutes unless you're trying to get to downtown Prior Lake. Maybe you get to Burnsville Mall in 30 minutes.
Right.
That's about it.
I lived down in Burnsville. It was a disaster.
It's a nightmare.
Oh,
But I just think
God.
it's funny. Like if I would have Lakeville, Burnsville, Prior Lake, Shakopee, if I would have mentioned any of those,
Yeah.
nobody would have been like, "Oh, cool." I listened to Stacy and like, "Holy crap, that's almost Duluth, isn't it?" You know what? You just go ahead and keep believing that, so it just
So
stays
you stay away
nice and quiet.
You stay away from there, yeah. No, that's hopefully in like 10 years I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know,
Where are you thinking?
somewhere that
Just
way,
out
northwest,
somewhere
west.
on this swath.
Yeah. I want to stay at the north, either go north or west or in between.
Yeah.
There's nothing over there, east besides Wisconsin.
Right.
And south doesn't have any
you don't wanna
water.
go that way. Right. And
Besides
that's
the river.
Right. So that's
So for me, it's
my wife is from like the southern part of the state, so
Yeah.
she kind of wanted to move that way, and I'm like, then I got to drive through the cities
Yeah,
to do all the stuff that I do. I'm like, that is just not.
not happening.
I'm not doing it.
No, I'm in a good spot right now in the northwest suburbs. It just sucks because 94.
You're pretty close.
Friday is always a disaster.
Yeah.
So if I go up to like Mille Lacs, sometimes I'll take 10, or even I have 94, 10, 169, 47, 65.
And these numbers mean nothing to anybody not living in
True
Minnesota.
story. True story. That is true. I got a bunch of roads that'll take me somewhere I need to go.
Yeah. No, you're actually not in a bad spot because you can get to a major artery pretty quickly.
Right. And
And
then
that's the
just
key.
west here, I got Minnetonka, and then all those lakes
Yeah.
out there. So I'm
Yeah.
in a good spot. Yeah. If I
Yeah,
was
you're pretty
anywhere else,
centrally
it would
located.
suck.
And because I would actually fish Tonka more, but from Stacy, it's a haul, and I have to go through the cities, which I
Right.
generally try to avoid.
Yeah.
But I do. So I do go south sometimes. Like probably here in a couple weeks, I'll head down to Whitewater and catch some trout, find some morels,
Nice.
some ramps, cook up a little nice gourmet shoreside.
That's another thing I need to try is
stream size.
morels.
Oh,
Nobody wants to share morels. I
well,
wonder
they're
why.
definitely not going to share their spots. I can
No,
tell
I know
you
that. I know that. Yeah. You know.
If you think fishermen guard their spots, you have nothing on
Jesus.
mushroom hunters. They'll take that shit to their grave.
I've asked. I've been actually told to. Well,
Nope.
I've been told to fuck off.
It's not going to happen.
Like those words.
Yep.
Fuck off. I'm not
Yep.
doing it. I'm like, okay.
Nope.
Well, guess what? All right.
Because it's so. Think of it. If you could only catch crappies for 2 weeks out of the year,
Yeah, you ain't telling nobody where they're
you going to tell somebody your crappie spot? No, I don't think so.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
The only thing I know is to look for like old dead elms or whatever.
Yep.
I don't even know.
That's a solid tip.
Here's how bad I am. See, I'm like the worst person ever to have an outdoors podcast. But I tell everybody right off the bat, I'm just an idiot with a microphone, a camera, and a dream. I couldn't even tell you what an elm tree looks like, unless I saw the leaves.
Yeah, well,
And
and if you
compared to
see the
something
leaves and it's
Yeah.
not dead, then you're probably not going to
Exactly.
find many
But like
morels
you
around
see
it.
a dead elm on the laying
It's-
there. I don't know what
Yeah, well, it's like anything. You got to do the
Yeah.
research and find out. It's really not that hard. Like I can sit here and try to explain it to you, but without me showing you, it's
Yeah.
me and
my buddy
it's been
did.
told to me it's like the bark kind of resembles the pattern on a morel. If you
Oh,
say
really?
And that's kind of true. That's
Oh.
kind of true.
I don't think we have any elms
You don't
out
have
here.
any elms. I didn't see any elms coming in.
No. Well, they've
They-
taken them all down
the
because
other-
of the Dutch elm.
Yeah, the other part of elms is a lot of times, most times, at the tops of the trees, the branches will kind of curve up,
Oh, okay.
so they don't like a old oak tree is they kind of grow in every real knotted, knuckly, and they kind of make a bunch of dips and dives. Yeah, so elms don't
So
do
elms
that.
just go up.
Yeah, they pretty much just and small ones will look kind of like a dead small elm will look like a witch's broom, kind of almost coming to a point.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's little things like that. And again, I can describe it, but unless I point it out to you or you cross-reference it in like a book or something, and you got a supercomputer in your pocket, you just Google
Right.
dead elm tree images, and you're gonna
Boom. What they need to do is they
that's
need
what
to
they look
have
like.
an app.
I'm
So
sure
you
they
just
do.
take your phone and just scan the woods, and it'll point out the elm
Yeah,
trees.
yeah.
So then you have that connected to the GPS. So then you GPS that. So then every year you can go out and check to see the status of that elm, if it's still living or not, or if it's close to death. So then you can keep track of that elm. And
some people take that in their own hands, and they'll actually girdle a live tree just so it dies.
seriously,
Yeah, and they'll do it on public land, which that's
Those guys are
not
dicks.
cool. They're dicks. They're dicks in every walk of life. It doesn't matter if it's hunting, fishing, mushrooming, gaming. I don't care what. There's just a certain population, a percentage. They're just assholes.
10.
It's just it. It's
7 out of 10 people are stupid. 1 out of 10 are dicks.
And that can cross. Like they can fill 2 spots.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times they do. But what I did want to get into to ask you about the actual interview process here was so
back to
you're saying there, just an idiot with a microphone, a video, and a dream. What was the dream? Like, when did it start? Like, what's your outdoor background?
Well, we can go back to when I was like a little kid. My dad fished and he hunted. He was a waterfowler. Did that when I was, a little kid, and then I'd say, middle school, high school, I kind of fell out of it. I was busy playing sports and school and then work and everything. I got into, when was it? About 05. 05 or was it before then? No, it was 12, 13. Yeah, 05. I got into deer hunting because my buddy, it was his birthday, his old man's birthday. We were over at the party. One of his friends goes, "Hey, you want to help us build deer stands?" And I'm like, I don't know. I like building shit, and I like being in the woods. Sure.
Perfect.
I didn't hunt. Never deer hunted. My dad didn't deer hunt. I'm like, sure, I'll help you build stuff, whatever. He's like, well, that means you're going to hunt with us. And I'm like, okay. I don't have any rifles, but all right. He's like, dude, yeah, don't worry.
We got you covered.
We have guns. I'm like, all right, cool.
Small arsenal.
Yeah. So I looked at my wife, and I'm like, all right, what do you? Not that I was like, asking somebody. My buddy's like, oh, so you asked her for permission? I'm like, no. I'm just like, this is odd. Like,
right.
Hunting, like this is time consuming. I have know nothing about it. And she looks at me, she's like, I don't care. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm hunting. So they get me the old, go up to one of their buddies' houses, and they bring the old Ted Williams Model 3030, which the cartridge ejected out of the top. So the scope actually was off to the side a little
weird.
bit. Yeah. Shot great. Fantastic. So we get that all sighted in. And I'd never shot a rifle longer than maybe 20 yards.
Sure.
But, we get it sighted in out to 100. Perfect. Good to go. And then we'll go out opening morning, 7:16. I'm sitting in the kitchen with a cup of coffee and a deer hanging in the garage. And I'm like, well,
that was easy.
This ain't tough.
Fast forward.
Yeah, basically. And then the second year I hunted with him, I got another deer. Third year it didn't, and then I ended up breaking off. It was up by Cloquet, small, it was small property, not many deer running around. So I broke off, and I started bow hunting kind of that third year, too. I started shooting a bow. And then I started, actually, like, hunting. Like, not just go out, sit in a stand, and wait for something to walk by. I started doing research on, like, okay, so what's this bow hunting thing all about? And talking to people and going to the archery shop and learning stuff. And next thing you know, I'm shooting 3 to 5 times a week minimum. I'm scouting, putting out trail cameras on public land that I can legally put cameras out on, I guess, if you want to say that, whatever. Doing this and that and the other. And, I shot a couple deer with the bow. I haven't shot a lot of deer. I'm, maybe.
I haven't either, really.
What? I got that one, 5 or 6, something like that.
Got a little
That's
velvet.
actually, that one, yeah. That came off public land, and that I thought was a doe.
That'd be a great jackalope.
It would.
Rack,
yeah.
actually.
Well, I thought it was a doe.
Even with the velvet on it, it would look really awesome.
Yeah, no, I thought that one was a doe, and I shot it because it was 15 minutes left of legal shooting light.
I assume that's your broken arrow with it?
Yep. Yeah, when he turned,
nice
he
pink fletching,
stepped
bro.
on her. You can see it.
I'm just kidding.
You can see it. Pink is the only unnatural color in the wild.
Real men shoot pink.
Yeah.
Apparently. Wait, that could be taken the wrong way. I'm going to leave that there.
Real men shoot pink, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so.
And that one there, is that a 10?
That's a 10.
Deer for a 10, but he's got like mule deer brows.
Yeah,
brow
he's not real old, probably 2.5.
You're 2 up on me here because I have never shot an antlered deer.
Yeah, I hear you're picky.
And
here, okay.
I'm not really picky, though. That's the weird thing about it.
Hold on.
Holy moly.
I apologize. Hold on. Let me turn my ringer off. How unprofessional was that shit? Anyway.
Poor choice of music.
I got a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
So you bow hunt.
Yes.
Not for the racks, right? Not even necessarily for the meat. You bow hunt because... Well, you hunt for the meat, but I mean, you bow hunt instead of rifle hunt because of the challenge.
Yes.
Right. and the pursuit of the game.
Yes.
And stuff. But you don't want to troll for fish.
Because
you will sit in a tree stand for 3 months and not see anything or shoot anything, but you won't troll for fish and catch a fish every 10 minutes.
Challenge. Where's the challenge in trolling? You sit back and you could drink a beer.
But you sit there in a tree stand and you could
and
drink
you have to
a
be
beer.
like quiet and still.
Yeah,
and then
so?
you can sit there in a tree stand. And then, after 3 beers, you start telling the squirrel across the way a story.
Yeah, but you don't have the patience to
troll. No.
But you have the patience to sit in a tree stand perfectly quiet and still.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I thought about that after I asked you if you wanted to troll for crappies.
I don't do it. That's just I can't even put those words in the same sentence.
Trolling for crappies?
I don't even know what to do with that information.
You catch crappies by trolling for crappies.
I could do that with casting. Why do I got to troll for them for?
The deep ones.
Why do I want to fish for deep crappies?
Because they're big ones. They're big ones. The big ones down there. Because it's just a different way. You troll with, and not necessarily like just throw it behind the boat and drag it, but like planer boards.
You planer board for crappies?
Heck yeah, dude. Yes. What?
All right. Hey,
you never run into spooky crappies where they don't want to bite? If so, I want to fish with you from here on out.
No, but then I haven't pursued them. So, okay. Come summertime, left to my own devices, I'm fishing for bass or muskies.
Yeah. Okay.
And then not really. I have kind of gotten away from muskies. I want to kind of get back into it, but
I shouldn't
pretty much bass.
I'm guessing I should not bring up troll and muskies in the same conversation with you.
No, you could.
Or are you going to double back and backpedal with the trolling?
I'm not really going to backpedal on it because I know it's a very effective method, and probably, like, if you really want to put a muskie in the boat, you should troll.
Yeah.
If that's you, I want to catch a muskie, you should probably troll. Your lure is going to be in the strike zone the majority of the time. Check it for weeds from time to time, but it's always pretty much in the strike zone. But I hate trolling, and I don't do it. So I would much rather cast and not catch a muskie than troll and catch a muskie.
Yeah. Bow hunting for muskies. Okay, I get it.
Because for me, yes, catching muskie is awesome. But what I like about muskies is every cast is that the anticipation, like, this could be the one. Mm-hmm. As you're reeling it in, I don't know about anybody else, but I can only speak for myself. Like, in my mind, as I'm reeling it in, and this is every cast, I'm picturing this giant fish following that bait or smashing it. If I'm using the top water, I'm walking the dog with a spook or whatever, and it the whole time in my mind I'm just like waiting for a blow up, and I'm envisioning this blow up. Every twitch of the rod, I'm like
topwater bass fishing, same thing.
And it doesn't happen. You're like, you cast out again, and then the whole thing just repeats. Yep. And like, I don't know. Do you get that with trolling? Like every second you're like, my rod's gonna smash. The times I have trolled, you sit back, your mind wanders, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. You're like, oh, there's a fish on.
Well, it depends. It depends on if you're paying attention to the sonar or not. Because if you're actually watching your unit and you're watching the graph and you're going by and there's a pot of fish, you turn around, you wait. Nope. Or, yep, there's a fish on. God, so it's the same thing. It's kind of the same.
I almost fell asleep halfway through that story.
Oh, Jesus. We'll put it like this. Go to Lake of the Woods, end of July and August.
Oh, God, they use downriggers up there.
Just lead core it.
I just can't even. I'll troll for salmon just because you pretty much have to. Like, I don't know anybody that casts for salmon unless it's early in the spring or fall when they're coming up the rivers. And
don't they jig for salmon too? Or no?
Maybe. I won't. I don't. I've never heard of that.
Oh.
They might. I have no idea. I know trolling is about they're just so pelagic, I think that's the right word, where they roam. You can't pinpoint them.
And that's the thing too, is with trolling, you're trying to find fish.
Yeah, I mean, I trolled. No, we trolled a little bit when I was in Florida this last little trip because if you're going for, these big predator fish that are, again, they're pelagic. They're just running around.
You don't know where
pelagic.
they are.
I'm not probably saying that.
I would much rather cast for a fish. Okay, yes, I would much rather cast for a fish than troll, but I do like trolling.
You like to catch fish.
I do like catching fish. Yeah. Well, I like to fish too, but I like to catch fish. It's like yesterday. I like to catch fish, so we went out and we caught fish.
All we talked about fishing today, we're like, oh, it's going to be cold and windy.
I
and
know.
wet. This is a beautiful day out
I
here.
know.
Technically, the wind's out of the east or northeast, but there
Yep.
ain't a drop of wind out there right now. It's
Nope.
actually not bad at all.
And I even know the spot.
And that's the thing that kept my lazy ass in bed this morning, because I should have went out into the turkey woods. But I was like, do I want to sit out there and wet and wind? And
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Then I finally get up and I'm like, let the dogs out. Son of a
Yeah, there was
bitch.
nothing going on. Yeah. Yeah, I looked at the radar about 10 o'clock or whatever it was, and I'm like, oh, so nothing? Oh,
Yeah.
thanks.
Meanwhile, southern part of the state's getting hammered. but
Rule number 1 of being an
they can have
outdoorsman.
it.
Okay. Never trust the
Never
weatherman.
just look out your window in the morning. Set your alarm, get up, look out your window.
Look out the window and have a
that's-
radar. And
that's it.
Just if you
That's
pay
all you
attention to
need.
those two things, you're fine.
Oh, we'd have smashed them today for sure. They'd still be up in those nice warm bays. And
Oh yeah.
protected
Well, last
bays,
night
feeding up.
they were
Everybody's smashing them right now.
they were there at 7 o'clock when we left yesterday. So
I believe it. They don't. It's not like they don't move that much.
no.
Especially since all winter long, I've been catching most of my panfish in 10 feet or less.
You know, that's the funniest thing. If you go to Medicine Lake over here, where I was last night, in the wintertime, there's a 40-foot hole. That's where the village is. That's where all the permanents are.
That's every lake everywhere.
Yes, and people don't realize. Go shallow. Go find some weeds. Go find some rocks.
Weeds.
And that's all you need. And you will catch bigger and better fish.
Yeah.
Because
but they won't be. The thing is, a lot of
they
times
like
they
it.
won't be, or they won't necessarily be shit stacked in those.
No.
Shit. You're picking off a few here and a few there. So the reason there's a couple of reasons those villages pop up over deep water. Yes, they hold fish. They hold large schools of fish. So you're going to see stuff on your electronics all the time. But those are your big schools of small fish
Exactly.
that school together to stay alive.
Yep.
You want the big dogs?
Yep.
They've already made it. They
Yeah.
don't need to hang out there. They
No, they don't
already
care.
learned how to survive. They're going for where the food is. And where the food is anywhere there's live weeds. There's going to
Right.
be bugs all over the place in there, on the ground, under the ice, on the plants themselves. That's where the life cycle's happening.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, if you're in a lake that doesn't have weeds, then you got to look at, like you said, rocks or wood, or a lot of times it's just a break line. Some sort of structure that separates it. And then sometimes there's other stuff that can come into play, like oxygen levels and.
Right.
But those are like extreme
Yep.
circumstances. Generally, any body of water in the wintertime, if you find green weeds and you're looking for panfish, they're going to be there. Well, pike are going to be there
Oh, okay.
for
yeah.
sure.
Yep.
And even walleyes will be there sometimes, especially in the summer.
Weeds is
Weed
when it comes to walleyes. That's the most number one underrated spot to look.
Oh, yeah.
Is weeds. I haven't really been that successful because I don't fish it too often. I need to, and I'm gonna start fishing more for walleyes in the weeds. But it's amazing how many
It's hard
fish
to do, and just
everywhere.
Be prepared to be cut off by northerns more
All
than
the
you're
time.
used to.
All the
Because
time.
that's where they live too. But they're there for the same reason.
Yep.
There's bait fish there. That's
Exactly.
why the walleyes are there. But
Yep.
I learned about weed walleyes by accident. I didn't read an article. Nobody told me about it. After the underwater cameras first came out, like AquaView,
Yep.
we actually rented one. They had it at the bait shop there up by Mille Lacs, and fishing was slow, so we just wanted to play with the camera. So we put the camera down there. We just drifted over this weed flat and just beautiful cabbage everywhere, and it was absolutely shit stacked with walleyes. Like I was like, what? And we were in 8 feet of water, cabbage, and there were walleyes everywhere.
Yep.
Well, we reeled that camera up and we tried to catch them. We could. I was using the weedless jig, tip with a soft plastic and try to rappel over the top. And pretty much since then I've tried. I tried everything that was that day. I pretty much tried everything that people have recommended how to catch them, and they just weren't biting, or maybe I wasn't quite doing it right or something. But I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was like, what? In my mind, it was like walleyes, rocks,
Rocks
sand, mud.
sand and mud. Yep.
Yeah. Break lines deep. Oh, it's summertime. They're going to be deep. No.
No, you can
8
catch
to 12 feet in cabbage, and it was absolutely
in the middle of the
shit-stacked.
summer. You can
Yeah.
catch walleyes in 4 foot of water.
Crystal clear water, like Mille Lacs, middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
They were there, and I'm sure if I was more of a walleye fisherman and had some more tricks up my sleeve, I could have got those fish to bite, whether it's on a slip bobber and a jig or something.
Slip bobbering in the shallows, and I mean slip bobber really anywhere. That's their structure, but slip bobbering in the shallows is absolutely ridiculous. And that'd be another thing too. In those weeds, go ahead and slip bobber.
Oh yeah,
and let that sit.
That's probably the only thing I didn't do.
Yeah, if you can let it sit right on the outside edge of that weeds, they're just sitting there in the weeds, looking, coming out.
Oh, they weren't even in the edge. I mean, they were like in the middle of it.
Oh, they were deep.
Yeah, because we weren't like trolling the. We literally just let the wind drift us, and we went over this massive cabbage patch, and we were just literally in the thick of it, and there was just walleyes everywhere.
And just anchor down,
just left alone. You know, nobody's fishing for those.
Anchor down through a leech on a jig and under a bobber.
Probably would have had a great time.
Please,
probably would have caught a bunch of bass and northerners.
Well, you caught everything.
Crappies too, probably.
Right,
there's good crappies in that lake.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a little bit of a secret, but
well, here's my goal is I came up with a goal because on my shows I do the Master Angler Award from the Hall of Fame and Fishing Museum in Little Falls. Well, the Master Angler Award is if you catch a fish over a certain length, and they've got it for basically all the fish in Minnesota. You get a Master Angler for each one you get. If you get 3 of them in a year, you're like a super angler or whatever. And
how does that work?
Pictures.
Just pictures
on
a ruler?
Yeah.
And you send it to who?
Well, you don't have to necessarily send in a picture on a ruler, but they just want you to
kind of look
honest.
at it.
Yeah, you send them a picture of you and your fish, and in accordance, I sent in a 27-inch
Is it email
walleye.
or something like that? How does this whole thing work? So
you go to the
Minnesota
website,
Fishing Hall of Fame
Minnesota Fishing Museum and Hall of Fame, and they've got the Master Angler program on there, and there's the list. It's like the eligibility or whatever of each fish. They've got the list of all the fish. So like a walleye's 26 inches.
Okay.
And if you're a kid, it's actually less.
Okay.
And they've got, I think, if you keep the fish, they've got a poundage. So if you keep the fish, it goes by pounds. If you release it, it goes by length.
Sure.
So you're sending your picture. You can send in the story of how you caught it or whatever. And then they email you back after they kind of verify it. They look at the picture, go, yeah, that's a 27-inch fish. Or, dude, that's 20 inches.
Bro.
Stop it, dude.
Your poor wife.
Knock the shit out. Right. Yeah. Hey-o. But yeah, then they email you back. And on the email, there's a certificate that you can print out and frame it and put it on the wall or whatever. Well, if you catch 1 Master Angler, 3 is like a pro, or there's another level. But 5 is the Grand Master Angler, and that's 5 different species in a year. My goal, and I think on May 25th, I'm actually going to start this goal with Mr. Matt Trino, who's a guide on Mille Lacs.
I might have to try to do this.
We're going for the Grand Master.
In one day?
In a day. In a day. And here's the deal. I don't care what it is. So we can go out, we can catch a rock bass, a bluegill, a crappie, dogfish, and a carp. I don't care.
You're going to check walleyes and bass off your list really quick.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what he's really into.
You're going to get smallmouth,
yes.
and you're going to get your walleyes over 26.
Which are 21s. Bass are 21 each.
Well, that lake's got them, though.
Yeah.
You'll get them over 21 there for sure. And you got to get 5 of them, though.
Well, 5 different species. So I'm after.
You don't have to get 5 of each.
No, it's
just
5 different species. So that's what I'm saying. I go out there, I can
just got a lot easier.
Maybe.
Well, I just mean just easier than getting 5 of each.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, getting the master whatever from each species. I mean, so let me backtrack a little bit.
Yep.
Because the way I understood it was like what I just said. So that, what did they call it? What's the level?
The Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster. That's not 5 of a particular fish.
No, it's 5.
That's just 5.
5 different fish that qualify for a Master Angler.
Okay.
In a year. In 365 days. I want to do it in a day. So we're going to go for bass probably, I'm guessing, both large and small. We'll go for a walleye, probably do some crappies and some bluegills. So, yep, I want a Grandmaster in a day. And I've already talked to him at the Hall of Fame and the Fishing Museum about it. And I told him if I'd do it, because apparently nobody's ever done it.
Really?
In a day. Yeah, nobody's ever done it in a day, apparently. I go, can we name it after me?
Can it be on a different body of water?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I want to do it on the same body of water in one day. 24-hour period.
Now I'm scheming now. Now I'm trying to find the right spot.
Right. In 24-hour period. And that's why I'm like, well, there's Mille Lacs, there's Leech Lake, there's Vermilion, there's Lake of the Woods.
Let's put a good day in, though, because you're going to have to target.
Yeah.
So, like, walleyes, and you'll catch your smallmouth.
Oh, yeah.
Or actually, you should target smallmouth, and you'll catch your walleyes on accident.
Yeah.
And they'll be over 26 inches probably on that lake. And then you're going to have to go troll those weed lines for pike.
Yeah.
You heard me. I said troll those weed lines for pike.
Yeah.
Because you're going for a goal here.
Yeah.
This is not. This isn't
just leisure fishing.
This isn't to catch them in the hardest way possible.
No,
this is
I'll use
to
live.
catch them.
Hey, I will use live bait for bass.
Right. Well,
I don't care. If it gets me my master angler, it is what it is.
Then I'll just do it on artificials, and it'll mean that much more.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna steal this from you. I think I'm gonna try to.
Well, we can do it. We can do it together. I don't care. Don't matter to me. We can.
Oh, where's the fun in that?
You know.
Well, they're gonna be like, so I'm gonna do this. And they're gonna name the award after me, and they'll be like, yeah, but this guy just turned it in an hour ago. Who's this guy?
I'm going to tell him no. I already know for a fact that's not real. He's stretching those fish. Check the back, the vertebrae, because they're cracked. Yeah.
I only look small because I'm tall. That's the only reason.
I got a buddy.
That does happen.
Oh,
I don't have giant hands, but I'll catch a nice bluegill.
Oh, yeah.
Nine and a half, and I'll take a picture. Yeah. I'm like, why does that thing look so little?
My hands are not big either. I have like medium, large hands.
Yeah, you try to. It's like, and then I watch somebody else hold the same fish. I'm like, that thing looks like a giant in your hands. It's just not fair.
My buddy Tom, he's like 350 to 400 pounds. Giant of a man. He makes everything look small. Yeah. It's like, hi, this Super Duty lifted up truck. Oh, nice, like Fiat. You know, it's just a giant of a man. Yeah, I know a couple guys like that have caught just monster fish.
It's really hard for me to get a good picture, like of me and a panfish, because it's just I'm tall and my.
You gotta do those creative.
I'm not fat, I'm skinny, but like
you gotta do those creative, like angled pictures just to show, hey, look at this cool looking fish.
What I've just started doing is I'm just not in it. I'll set it like by my Vexlar, because then you can get a good this thing is as big as my Vexlar screen.
Right.
See how? But if I hold that, you'll be like, that ain't that big of a fish.
Oh yeah.
But if I set it there and then the picture of that and the Vexlar, then I kind of take a more artistic.
Well, I was with Tom and we had a bunch of bluegills that were all 9 to 10s. And he caught a good 10, and it just looked like a normal fish. The only way you can tell is if you can lip them. Like I started lipping them if they're big enough to show, hey, look, I can lip a bluegill.
Yeah, or
it's a good fish.
They get that bump. Only the big ones get the forehead bump. Yeah. You got one like that, I don't care how small it looks because you're a massive man. If I see that bump, I'm like, that's a good fish.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yep.
But I don't, how many people actually know that or pay attention?
The only people that really care.
Probably.
The guys that'll go, oh, that's not a big fish.
Yeah.
Those guys will go, oh, yeah, that's a good fish.
Yeah. Well, the one I've been tagged with like 8,000 times, I'm sure you've seen it too, is a guy with the ruler tattooed on his calf.
That's so funny.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is his ruler and goes up to like 17 or 18 inches. What good's that?
Well,
what is that going to do me?
That, and I think the scaling is actually off.
Probably.
So
if you're smart.
Like the 1, 2, and 3 are like closer together than the 17 and 18.
I mean, if you're smart, I mean, you're going to take pictures of it. Right. But I'm like, what good does that do me? That doesn't do me any good.
Well, yeah.
If I catch 20, 21-inch bass. Like,
well, there you go.
Now what?
What do you do now? Yeah.
That doesn't help me out.
No.
Doesn't help me out at all. No, I mean, I'm not, not to sound braggadocious, but.
Oh, here we go.
20-inch bass aren't that hard to come by.
They're not really.
They're really not.
No.
I mean.
You just got to know where to look.
Yeah. I mean.
You got to get away from the docks like I never do.
Get away from the docks?
Depending on the time of day.
Well, or the lake.
Yeah, the lake.
Go deep weeds, which I don't do too much, but I probably need to. I tell myself I need to do it more, but if I'm just going off of the bass club that I'm in, there's a couple people that'll fish deep, but the guys that are winning,
fishing the
week
shallows.
in and week out, they're pounding the shallows just with the rest of us. So there's definitely big, and again, it's lake depending, but there's definitely big fish that hang out deep.
Yeah.
But
those guys,
there's some big fish that'll get real skinny water.
Oh yeah.
A foot or less.
I know that. Yeah.
And here's what I'm starting to pick up on is like, if you see any bit of structure, no matter how benign it might look, if you're already in the area, like, don't go running, screaming across the lake because you saw a stick in this one bay. Right. But if you're already kind of, before you leave an area, like maybe your main group of docks or weeds petered out and you're like, oh, time to go to a new spot. And then 40 yards ahead, you see this one lone little branch there. Even if it's in like a kind of barren area, sneak in there and give that one toss.
Oh, yeah. Especially in clear.
I've caught a lot of fish on those.
And the clearer the water, the better.
You're going to get one.
Yeah.
You're going to get one, but that one owns that stick, and he's probably going to be a decent fish.
Yeah. There was actually a guy that he took a tank, big clear tank, glass tank, filled it full of water, threw a bunch of fish in there. Took a magic marker and drew one line down the side of the tank on one, and all the fish went right to that line.
I saw one of those old.
They look for structure.
I have them.
They look for
this
cover.
Like these fishing hardcover books. It was one of those like buy it on TV thing. They send you a new book. It was like one's largemouth bass, one's whatever. But in the bass one, I think, or it might have been the general fishing one. I don't remember. But they did that. They had a big white tank, giant tank, and they put, half dozen bass in there, like 2-pounders or whatever it was. And they didn't have anything in there, and they just roamed.
Yep.
They were everywhere. And then they shaded part of it. They all went to the shade. They put a pile of rocks in there. They all went to the rocks. They went, and it wasn't until they had choices where some would go to the rocks, some would go to the shade, and some would go there. But if it was empty and you put anything in there, anything that made it different, that's where they went.
I think I'm not a scientist or obviously just an idiot with a microphone, but
and a dream.
And a dream. But I think walleyes might be the one fish where you can literally just find them out in the middle of the mud, roaming around.
I also
Maybe
saw
perch,
that on the camera on Mille Lacs too, where we drifted over. We were over like, I don't know, it was probably mud. It was like 32 feet. It was in the middle of nowhere, middle of the day, and there was walleyes like as far as you could see with that camera, but they were all spread out.
Yep.
Like technically, I guess the school, because they were all swimming in the same direction, but there was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 feet in between each individual fish, and they were completely suspended in the water column.
Yeah, they just roam around.
And I suppose you throw on that depth of a crankbait or something, and
troll,
yes. You would probably get them.
Lead core.
I saw them and went, eh.
Meanwhile, everybody in Minnesota just went, what? What?
I don't know. I guess I'm the black sheep of the Minnesota family because the walleyes have just never have grabbed me as that much of a sporting fish.
Let's go back to my story. My first walleye ever was on Mille Lacs, surprise, and I was 7 years old, 26 and a half, 8 pounds. It's on the wall in the other room there. And after that, I didn't care. Not a care in the world. I'm like, what's the point?
Right.
Like, I'm not eating them.
Right.
I mean, I don't really
Well, you're going
fish
to keep
much.
them now. I listened to your podcast where you got into that.
I might. Yeah, we'll see.
You said you catch one over the.
Oh, on Mille Lacs, yeah.
I'm
not even going to be up there. I doubt it. It's so stupid.
I knew I should have brought notes because there was a couple.
God,
There's a couple
horrible
points that I wanted to take you to task on.
Oh, I bet it.
And why now I don't remember because my memory is shit.
Was it on Mille Lacs?
It was about about your rant on Mille Lacs.
Oh, which one?
I don't know. Like it was walleyes.
Was it too many big fish in that lake?
Yes, I think it was that.
Well, there's too many big fish of all species in that lake. Of all species. You got to have a balanced fish.
You do. In a perfect world, you're going to have a balance.
I mean, look at that. It's a trophy lake, and like I said on that episode, it's a trophy lake for literally muskies, pike, walleye, largemouth, smallmouth, crappies, panfish, everything in that you can go
except
out and you can
anymore.
Yeah, the abundance of those are gone. Yeah, but you can go out and catch trophy fish all day, every day on that lake of all species. It's not big enough. Lake of the Woods is 1 million+ acres. It's big enough. Plus, it's actually got forage. Mille Lacs doesn't have
Lake
the
of
forage.
Woods has a shit ton of little walleyes and
and saugers, which is perfect food. Yeah,
ton of them.
Yeah, and what's the forage basin in Mille Lacs? Tulipies are disappearing.
Yeah,
perch are disappearing.
Shiners,
which, depending on if they're seined out of the creeks and tributaries.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like my opinion when it comes to Mille Lacs and how messed up that whole lake is. I still feel like we're not looking in the right spot for the problem. I think that for me, and people that know me are sick of me talking about this, but I think the canary in the coal mine with Mille Lacs was the eel pout and the perch. Back in the day, there was eel. They used to just throw them on the ice. I don't know why, but we all just thought they were garbage.
Yeah,
it's just what you did. Nasty, you caught one, you threw on. The eagles would eat them and whatever. You caught them all the time. Middle of the day, they were everywhere, and that was the time you were catching nice big jumbo perch too. And then, almost seemingly overnight, it seemed like that era where they called it the Dead Sea. Mm-hmm. If you remember, that was what 20
But did
years
anybody
ago,
lose
maybe?
their mind? No, they're just like,
went to a different
tough.
lake.
Yeah, fishing's tough. Big deal. Okay,
some people
fine.
did, but to be fair, they didn't have social media.
Right.
I guarantee if they'd had social media back then, they would have lost their mind because there would have been countless audience to lose their mind too. Because let's be honest, most of the shit people put on social media is just
it's shit.
It's peacocking for somebody else. I mean, it's recreational outrage. So, but I think there's something down the food chain that's getting missed.
Yes.
or multiple things.
I've been
that are
talking to
getting
people
missed.
about it. I go, why don't we put regulations on the bait fish, the perch, the tulipy, the eel pout? Not that anything's eating the eel pout, but we should probably put regulations on eel pout because they're disappearing.
I think things are eating I like eating eel pout.
Yeah, but you can go out there and catch as many as you want right now.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
How's that catching more than one?
Well, and that's the thing. Why? Because everybody's keeping
Yeah.
this and that. But
you definitely could put a limit on them.
Where's the
I don't think
bait
it's gonna
fish?
really help them. Again, I think it's even smaller than that. It
Yeah.
might be down to, spiny water fleas have been in there for a while.
Yeah.
So
Zebra mussels
Is
have
it
been in there
that?
for a while.
zebra mussels have been in there for a while, and I have a different opinion when it comes to invasive species too, but we'll stick to this one for now. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm saying I don't think we're looking in the right place. And maybe there's some fishery biologists and marine biologists out there looking, and I just haven't seen the reports or the studies. But I feel like we're so caught up with the poster child, which is the walleye. And, people get bent out of shape because the Indians are net. They get the net, and we can only keep one, and they can net, and they kill all sizes. Now there's a net floating over here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either, but I don't think that's the main problem. It's something, because that's been going on for a long damn time. Mm-hmm. And now it's only really recently we're having the struggle managing this lake and getting it back to, like you said, well-balanced.
Right.
And, yeah, there was definitely times where they had, when the slot limit was 16 to 18 or was 17 to 19 or whatever it was, and the limit was still 5. The moment a fish reached that size, it got plucked out of the lake. It was hard to get a fish bigger than that for a while. I think if you're going to do a restrictive limit on Mille Lacs, don't have any size involved.
Thank you.
Just one fish. If you're going to go with one fish.
Any size.
One fish of any size. Now you are not beating on any size, any year class. Mm-hmm. You are spreading it out. It's up to angler's choice.
Yep.
And most people are going to kind of self-regulate. They're going to get a good eater, which is probably going to fall in that 16 to 20, 21-inch range. They're not. If they have the choice, they're not going to keep a 28-incher to eat.
No, most guys
don't want a 14-incher. They're going to want one that get a decent slab of meat off of.
Yeah, they're looking for the 16 to 20, maybe 20s.
Somewhere in
16
there.
to 19s. Yeah. That's what most people are going to eat anyway.
Right.
What's messed up is that if I would have caught my first walleye, my very first walleye, 8-pound, 26.5 inches, if I caught that this year, I couldn't keep it.
Right.
Or the past 3 years. I couldn't keep that fish, so I couldn't have that memory on my wall for 30 years now.
Sure. Yeah.
But since there's a size limit, whether it's the slot or the over, I couldn't have that memory.
Well, that's what I tell people.
Regardless if it's a 26.5 or it's a 20.
Screw that lake. You can only keep one fish, blah, blah, blah. Like, well, you don't go to that lake if you're going – if your purpose of fishing is to put food on the table, you don't fish Mille Lacs then.
No.
Like, if you want a legit chance at catching a trophy, go to Mille Lacs.
Right.
You have a really, really, really good chance at getting a good one.
Every day. All day.
Every day.
All day.
Fishing for bass.
Yeah.
You're going to get one.
Go to a rock pile, throw a slip bobber and a leech, and you will catch walleye all day long. And
Swim
you'll catch
bait,
big ones.
crank bait, whatever.
Yeah.
I bet you'd catch one on a Daredevil if you had it tied on long enough.
Guaranteed.
They're everywhere in that lake. But like you said, when it comes to regulations, I don't think the Capitol has any business. I don't think this should be left up to lawmakers.
Nope.
The law that needs to be passed is we're going to listen to the experts, the fisheries, the scientists, what they recommend. And maybe you put together a panel specifically for Mille Lacs because it's such a problem. But that panel of 5 or 8 people of experts, of scientists that you have on there, what they recommend goes. And that means even if they say shut the lake down.
Well, here's the problem is that there are scientists and there are panels, but they've all got agendas. So, the DNR has their scientists, St. Paul has their scientists, and then the normal people have their scientists, and none of those people are coming up with the same answer. And then St. Paul is involved because money's involved, and the tribe is involved.
Let's see the reports.
It's all
let's just. What are those? What if
we'd
you're
all
saying
love
we
to
got
see
this
'em.
answer?
Yeah,
show me.
We'd all love
just
to
like
see 'em.
math class back in school. It's not getting it's not the answer I want. It's how you got to the answer. I want to see why you want to do this. Yeah. And if you have actual science to back it up, as much as I don't like the answer, fair enough.
I've said that.
Then there we go.
I don't have to like it. Just tell me why.
Yeah.
Where are you coming up with this stuff? Tell me why.
But here's the thing. We all need to get on the same page because ultimately we do all want the same thing. We want that lake back to its glory days, back to its well-balanced. Everybody's making money. Resorts are doing great. People are getting to keep limits of walleyes. That's what everybody wants.
Exactly.
So what are we fighting about? Let's do what we need to do and get it done.
Politics and money is what we're fighting about.
Yeah, well,
and that's the problem. There's too much.
There's money in politics.
Yeah, because it's a co-managed. The co-management is the number one issue because you have two different sides completely that are taking care of this lake.
Too many chiefs,
and
not enough Indians.
Well,
if we're going, I mean,
for lack of a better term with that, yeah. As a
I guess that was kind of insensitive.
Yeah,
it's not how I meant
they
it,
were
but
actually, yesterday actually starting to put the nets out.
Were they?
Yes.
Honestly, it used to bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, I've said it that look, sure they net. How about the launch boats that take 20 people out twice a day, limit out?
Yeah.
I've taken fish out of the lake. Anybody who's ever taken a fish out of the lake, guess what? We're all in this together. I don't know.
There's something else that's going on, too, that nobody's talking about. And I've talked to certain people, and they're like, they go, oh, I don't care what the law is. I catch an eater walleye. It's coming home with me. I'm like, well,
yeah.
Good luck to you. I mean, I'm not risking my boat or my tackle for any of that.
It's amazing what people will admit.
But there's a lot this year, more than anything. I don't know if it's their form of protest or what, but they couldn't wait to tell me that they technically poached. They couldn't wait. And I guess, should I be calling tip line? I don't know.
By the time
these people kept
without the proof,
the ones that have told me, like, they're not going up there and keeping 6 a day. It's like they went up one time this year and they brought 2 fish home.
Yeah.
Yeah, were they out of the slot? Yep. But
yeah.
I mean, is that? I mean, I kind of roll my. I think they know my stance on it because when they tell me that story, I am not impressed, and I usually roll my eyes at them. So I think they pick up quickly. Like, if you're trying to impress me, the fact that you're fighting the man. Really not impressed.
Yeah, if you want to fight the man like that, why don't you go down to St. Paul and go, hey, look what I got. I got these 2 walleyes out of Mille Lacs. I'm fighting the man.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're just
take your ticket.
Hey, look what I did. I took these 2 fish out of Mille Lacs. Yay.
Yeah,
get out of here.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But if we want to dip our toes into the other controversial subject with, the invasive species, I have a really unpopular opinion. Letterbuck.
What is it?
Letterbuck. We don't inspect our boats. It's spreading anyways.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll even tell you, well, we're trying to slow the spread. So it's going to continue.
Well, look at this whole Wright County thing.
Well, I don't.
You heard about that, didn't you?
Which one is that?
Wright County had 3 lakes under this pilot program where you had to go
get inspected before you
in
launch,
Annandale.
right?
Yep, you had to go into the city, get inspected, go back out to the lake. Now they wanted to expand it to 6. The DNR shut it down because it's not working. As a matter of fact, one of those 3 lakes actually obtained a new invasive species during the program.
Well,
so now St. Paul actually has it in their year bill, whatever the hell that thing is. They've actually got it to where they're going to force the DNR to keep it going. Even though the DNR goes, look, it's not working. The way they're doing it is bogus. They've got all these issues with it.
I got a bunch of buddies that bowfish. And
oh, yeah.
Is there somebody going to be at that landing or in City Hall at 10:30 at night to inspect my boat so I can go bowfish that? Or do I got to get there and wait for the sun to go down?
Well, you've got to go there
banker's
before.
Hours.
Yeah, you got to go there before because I think it's open till 7 or 9 o'clock. I don't know. I haven't looked that far into it. But you go in, you get inspected, and then you go out to the lake. But then if you're not doing good on that lake, bow fishing, and you want to go to another lake under that program, you can't because now you have to go back to Annandale, which is then closed, to go back out there.
People aren't. They're just not going to do it.
No, Bruce Anderson.
Who's policing it?
Bruce Anderson, you're the representative out there. You're failing, and everybody's pissed.
How are you going to police that?
Well, it's a $1,000 ticket. If
somebody has to give it to you.
Yeah, they have people there that'll go. You'll get. I'm guessing you'll get
or something.
You'll get a pass for the day.
Pass.
Yeah, like road pass for the day. So you to that lake.
What about the people that live on that lake?
Yeah, because I've raised that question. Yeah,
I'd dump it in right at my yard. I don't have to use the public landing.
Exactly. And who's checking? Nope. Yeah, exactly. No, it's all messed up.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen regardless.
And that's the thing. You're not going to stop the spread. Like, I have no problem cleaning, draining, and drying my boat as much as I can.
I do all of that as well.
Just maybe
just good
slow.
General maintenance. I mean, it's just
but you're not going to stop it. Once it's there, it's there.
I'm not pro-invasive species. And that's what people like to, when you debate with people, they always jump to the most extreme. Oh, so maybe we should just dump buckets of zebra mussels in every lake then. Yeah, because that's what I fucking said.
Right.
That's like not even remotely what I said.
I know.
The thing is going to spread, and the lakes that can you're going to have a run on zebra mussels right away because there's going to be a whole new ecosystem form. Then you're going to have a mass die-off because they're going to eat themselves out of house and home. And yes, it is going to change that lake forever.
Yep.
But is that right or is that wrong or is it indifferent? Nature, there's no morality in nature. Nature doesn't give a shit.
Right.
So the analogy I always use, if me as a human, I take a boat and I go to this island, this little tiny, it's a 100-acre island, little tiny thing, and it's got some birds on it, whatever. And I go over there and I let some lizards loose, and they eat all the bugs, and all the birds don't eat the bugs, and their numbers crash. I would be demonized. I would be fined. This is the worst thing ever. However, if there is a hurricane and it breaks this raft of vegetation loose and there happens to be a lizard on it and it happens to brush up against that same island and the exact same thing happens.
Yep.
The same exact outcome. That's nature's taking its course.
Yep.
Well, if I am to believe that humans are a part of evolution and we belong on this planet as much as any other fucking living thing, then whatever we do is a byproduct of just what we do.
Yeah.
Does that mean, again, I'm not saying buckets of zebra mussels, purposely pouring them into every lake, because why the fuck not? I'm saying we try to, and I think we're pretty good at this, especially in this country, about being mindful of how we treat our lands and our lakes. We want it to be clean. As a hunter and a fisherman, I don't like to go see trash on my riverbank.
No,
I don't like to see this. If I can keep Eurasian water milfoil out of a lake, I'm going to do my best, even, when knowing that it's probably going to get in there at some point in time anyways. But when it gets in there, is throwing a tantrum going to help anything? Is spending millions of dollars trying to control it when you don't control it? You just knock it back and fishing sucks for a week because you've knocked the entire ecosystem out of whack now because you have weed rot in the middle of fucking summer. Yeah. What are you doing?
What have you noticed that
there's no morality? My point is, it's not right, wrong, or different. There's no morality. Nature doesn't give a shit.
No.
It just happens.
Have you noticed nobody cares about milfoil anymore?
No, because they just
nobody cares. Nobody brings it up.
No, they still poison lakes, though.
We're used to it. It is what it is. It's
It'll
already
get
here.
naturalized, and some lakes will balance with whatever invasive is. Nature will figure out a way. Eventually, something's going to figure out that zebra mussels are an untapped resource for them, whether that's a diving duck, whether that's some sort of parasite. Eventually, nature will balance out. Is it going to be the nature that you're used to? And that's the other thing. We think as humans that nature is static, that how it was in 1974 is how it should be in 2074. Nature is never static.
Yep.
It is constantly changing. It is constantly adapting. And yes, these changes usually happen over a long period of time. But this world is in a different era than it's probably ever been before, where a particular species has found a way to travel the globe at will.
Yep.
Is that right? Is it wrong? No, it's indifferent because nature ultimately doesn't care.
Right.
What happens? This is Darwinism. If you can't adapt, you're going to die.
You're going to die, yeah.
And more things have gone extinct than anything that's ever lived before. Extinction is a natural process.
Right.
Do I want it to happen? No. Will it happen? Yes.
Yeah, that's my wife, by the way.
Hi, wife.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because if you take humans out and we go, look, you can no longer put a boat in the water. You can't. You're done. Everybody's off all the lakes. It still spreads. How does that happen? Because there's birds that go from lake to lake to lake. I've seen pictures and the videos of ducks with zebra mussels on them, with weeds on them, and they're flying around. And flooding, like you just said. Yeah. It's going to happen. We can do what we can, we can try to we can try to eliminate our presence as much as possible, clean, drain, dry. But every time you back a trailer into the water, you load your boat on or you take your boat off, and then you pull that trailer out. What happens? Your trailer empties out of water because there's holes in your trailer.
Sure.
Guess what? There's stuff in that trailer you can't get to.
Well, and that's why they say clean, dry. But that means I can't fish.
I can't fish.
You can only fish
days.
every 3 days.
Right.
Because you have to let your boat dry out.
Right. Well, actually, in Utah, was it Utah? I think it's Utah. They've got it where I think it's 7 days in a very hot and dry.
Well, so you got to build a kiln for
basically,
your boat.
Basically,
that's
yeah.
Perfect.
So that's the optimal time to dry your stuff out before you go somewhere else. Again before. Yeah. So
I mean, that's the thing. Like if your
let it
goal,
happen. Just let it happen and adjust.
If
Well, here's
your
the deal.
goal
How
was to
many-
really keep the lake as pristine as possible, the only way you literally could do that is to have a hazmat type decontamination dock
Yeah.
if you brought outside thing in, or you don't let outside things in.
Right.
The boats that you can use on this lake are in this lake and only ever in this
Yep.
lake. When they are come off this lake, they go into a controlled area, not your garage.
Nope,
A
quarantine.
city-run, quarantined spot where it is cleaned down to the last rivet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and like you said, there's no guarantee they're still not going to spread.
Well, we're dealing with microscopic organisms
Yeah.
at some
It's
at
just-
their smallest levels.
It's not
so
the money that we're wasting on it
is
to,
ridiculous.
to slow it, and when we know we're just slowing it.
That's all we're doing.
It's like you know it's going to happen.
Exactly.
Why not just let it happen? And then the faster you let it happen, the faster the lakes are going to adjust to it.
Name
It's
me
going to be a new reality.
Well, name me a body of water that's got zebra mussels in it that isn't a great fishery that didn't suck before it had zebra
just
mussels.
about single-handedly cleaned up Lake Erie.
And it's a great fishery. Mille Lacs
phenomenal
Lake,
fake,
phenomenal. Minnetonka, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Every body of water that was a good fishery is still a good fishery with all of these invasives in it. Now, are we saying that they're good? No, not necessarily.
They are filter feeders, and there's definitely having an impact somewhere down the line, down the life cycle.
We don't know what that is.
We
yet.
don't know what it
Maybe
is.
it's good.
Might be.
It might be.
It's probably neither good. It's
Wait,
probably
wait.
neither bad. It's probably indifferent.
It's probably just going to keep moving
It
along, just
is
like the
what it is.
milfoil.
Yeah. I
Milfoil
mean,
came, guys had to go, oh, well, let me fish these weeds different because it's milfoil. It's
do people still
guess what?
fish in the rivers where the flying carp are at? Yeah, of
Oh,
course
yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, you got a couple cracked ribs from jet skiers, but nobody likes jet skiers anyways.
We're purposely throwing carp at those jet skiers. That's not a silver. Nope. But you got too close. Here, have a flying comet at 30 pounds.
Oof. That did some damage. Those things get huge though.
Commons,
But I think they
yeah.
did just find one of those carp species in the St. Croix.
Yeah, I talked about it on my
Is that
show.
the big mouth?
No, it was
Or
the silver.
Was it a silver
It
carp?
was a jumper. They found one in there last year too, and they find those. They found a big mouth at one point, but they're just not in the numbers. They're there. I've talked to guys that fish those rivers a lot. They say they see them all the time, but they're just not in the numbers. Where if you drive your boat down,
Yet.
they're all flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're going to be able to survive in these waters just because they do get so cold.
That and
I don't
the
know.
St.
Maybe.
Croix is pretty clean,
Yeah.
and they're filter feeders. Well, technically, are they filter feeders? I know they eat like zooplankton and algae and stuff
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
just
I mean,
filters.
that's why
Yeah.
they're there. They're there to.
Yep.
Well, it's funny we talk about it here like they're the worst thing to get into waterway, and in like North Carolina, they're put into lakes on purpose
The
because
silvers are?
the power companies own like the watershed.
Really?
So they don't want any weeds because they clog their intakes and stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
they put them in there to control the weeds. Much to my buddy's chagrin, because the bass fishing's not that great
would just say
because there's no weeds.
Yeah.
There literally are no weeds.
Yeah, there's no black line for them to go hide by.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's docks and there's rocks
Oh,
and there's
well, then
timber
they got some stuff.
and there is still stuff. But what they don't have is they don't have the numbers of bass. So if you want to go out and you want to catch 30 bass in a day, that's like unheard of down there. They just don't. There's not that many bass. You don't. There's without weeds, without that Eurasian water milfoil mat
Right,
to
right.
protect your
Yep.
young fry.
Yep.
Right. They get eaten by anything. I just said right, but it's the only time this podcast that I
Right?
ended a sentence with right. So
Right?
it's not that bad.
It's okay. So,
but they do. They need that. It protects young fish. It gives them a
Yep.
place to hide from predators and from birds. Bigger fish or birds. Now they can grow up. They don't have that there. They're just swimming around trying to hide on a dock stick.
Remind
They're
me not to
getting
go
picked
bass
off.
fishing there.
Well, I mean, there are some lakes that are big bass, but they're just not going to have. You're just going to have the numbers of it. Just not.
You're looking for 5 big bites instead
When he
of
comes
30.
when he comes here, and he's from Minnesota, so when he comes back to visit, it's just like in heaven. There's just
Yeah.
like lily pads to flip or crawl a frog over, and there's just weeds everywhere, and he's like, oh yeah,
and you can catch them all
we
day.
catch multiple
All day.
We're catching double-digit bass every day.
Yep.
Not size numbers, double digits. I'd
like
like
you-
to catch.
So it's like
double-digit bass
walleye
every day.
fishing. You might catch 4 or 5. They'll be good size, but you're not going to catch 1,000 of them.
Yeah, I mean it's They just the weeds are kind of an important thing. So I bring that up just because I think it's interesting how in this state it's like, oh my God, and over there they're like dumping them in by the truckload.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's when it comes to invasive species and stocking. I mean, you go to the muskie stocking program now. Whether or not they want to do that or they don't want to do that,
I've noticed the
I
latest
haven't even delved into that yet on my podcast. I've got some guys, the North Metro Muskie guys, might get them on at some point. Once again, tell me a muskie lake that isn't good for everything else.
Yeah.
I mean everything else.
Yeah.
I mean
all of them.
It's
the only lake I can think of off the top of my head. The only great walleye lake I can think of off the top of my head that doesn't have muskies in it is Ottertail.
Ottertails get muskies, I thought.
I don't think so. I could be wrong about that, but I know most people that go to that neck of the woods to fish muskies will go to Battle.
Okay. I thought they did.
A couple of them.
I know it's got sturgeon in it.
I don't think they do. Well, it's connected by the Ottertail River, so
I'll have to ask Kyle. I thought
if they do have them, they're definitely not targeted.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, maybe I could be wrong, but as far as I know, they don't have. But typically, you name if you name the 5 best.
Well, Minnetonka, Mille Lacs, Vermilion, Leech, Lake of the Woods. And probably muskie guys out there now screaming about 15 other lakes.
Big Winnie.
Yeah, but they're all great fisheries for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's balanced. It's balanced.
Yeah,
but yeah, I haven't even delved into that on my show. I'm just like, you know what? I don't even know if I want to go there.
Of course you want to go there.
Of course I do, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so
it's content. You want to go there.
But that one I'm going to have to do a little bit of research before. And do I think muskies belong everywhere? Sure, why not? I don't care. Let them free. Either they're going to live, they're going to die. People are going to catch them.
They won't take in most lakes because muskies have a hard time getting a foothold in a lake that has a lot of northern pike.
A lot of northern pike, and they also need the right kind of food.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're not going to run around eating northern pike and survive off of northern pike. No, it's not going to happen.
The thing I've been noticing on social media lately is the anti-muskie crowd are starting to call muskies invasives. They're starting to label them as invasives because they're not from that lake.
Jesus Christ.
So I mean, the perfect example of
there's walleye lakes that
trying
aren't
to get
naturally walleye lakes. So can we stop putting walleyes in all these lakes?
Here's the hilarious part, or the hypocritical part, is we bitch and moan about muskies eating all the walleyes. We bitch and moan about the Indians are netting too many walleyes. What it boils down to, as you Joe Schmo fishermen, you want the state to stock as many walleyes as humanly possible in any given body of water that you like to fish so that you can take limits home every day without having to try. Right. That's really what you're saying.
Right.
And anything that dips into your pool of free walleyes, that needs to stop.
Yeah. Well, and
you're being completely selfish. I mean, so narcissistic, it's absurd. Mm-hmm. If you listen to yourself argue about your point, if you're like a super pro walleye anti-muskie fisherman, listen to what you're saying. You want the DNR to stock more fish so that it's not it's already a put and take fishery.
Exactly.
They stock millions and millions and millions of these things. If you let nature take its course, if you caught 2 walleyes in a day, you'd be having a good one.
Well, that's the thing. Walleyes should not be easy to catch for your average Joe Schmo. If you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be able to go out to Mille Lacs and catch walleyes all fucking day.
Yeah,
now you can go out to Mille Lacs and catch walleyes all day if you're a Joe Schmo and you don't have a clue of what you're doing because there's too many damn fish in that lake. But yeah,
they want it easy.
Well, and here's the thing. The guys that are like, I'm going to fill my freezer full of walleyes. You realize, and I just talked about this on a podcast that I literally was on Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday we had a podcast. And there's this thing called a possession limit, not a daily limit, a possession limit, which is
your freezer?
At max 6. If you combine it from all the different parts and lakes of the state, so yeah, you can only have 6 in your freezer at a time. So if you go out twice, 2 days in a row and catch 6, you're breaking the law, asshole.
Yeah, if you have them in your freezer, if you have a limit in your freezer,
you can't go fish for more.
You go fishing. Well, you could catch them and leave. But the moment you get a keeper and you put that in your live well, you are one fish over your possession.
Yep. You better call home, tell the wife to start eating fish.
You are technically over your limit.
Right. Yep. And people don't realize that.
No.
But we're gonna have a freezer full of fish.
Yeah, well, that's that old school. I mean, my dad was that. I mean, he was a catch and grease fisherman, not a catch and release. Like he didn't.
Oh yeah.
He would justify every fish he caught. If you catch a tiny little bluegill, he'd be like, "Oh, you can scale that and get plenty of meat off of there."
Jesus.
I want you to keep the little ones and let the big ones go. Dad, that would have made sense if I didn't see you keep the 10 inchers yesterday
right.
as well.
Right. Right.
You catch it, you eat it. He's old. That was the mentality back then.
I have a buddy
it's just what it is.
I have a buddy that literally put himself and his old man on Facebook last spring with 2 limits of crappies in the morning. And then they went, I saw another picture later in the day.
Oh, gosh.
And it said, "Hey, we did it again this afternoon." And I went back and I scrolled and I went, "Wait a minute. That's 2 limits and then 2 limits." And I called him and I go, "Did you literally just catch 2 limits per person today?" "Yeah." "What the fuck is wrong with you, you dumb shit? You just broadcasted to the world that you just poached fish."
Not only that, but he would probably be the first person to bitch if the numbers were down.
Oh, he does. Oh, God, he does. He does. Oh, and he has to keep everything he catches and this and that and the other. Yeah. I told him, I'm going to go, dude.
It's just unbelievable. There was a guy I was following on Facebook. I finally unfollowed him, but I just couldn't do it. And he was from like Texas or some shit. Might have been, I don't know, somewhere south. And he was catching all of his live. He was going live, and he was catching bass, and he was keeping them, which is fine. I know some bass fishermen get triggered when somebody keeps a bass.
It's a fish. It's a fish.
They're a large sunfish. They breed very well.
Yes.
They can handle harvest.
Yes.
Like
we actually talked about this Thursday.
It's not a big deal.
It's stupid.
It's really not a big deal.
Yeah, it's a fish.
So it doesn't bother me. And we keep them every once in a while. One time a year I'll keep a bass. Usually it's like when my family comes up from all over. We have stay at a resort for a week, and we want a fish fry.
Yep.
We need to get a bunch. Pretty much anything that is keepable gets kept within,
and they all taste the same
within the laws, whether it's a pike or it's a bluegill, rock bass, largemouth bass. When it comes to largemouth bass, I'll keep like a 12-incher. I call it a big mouth perch.
That's all it is.
Once you clean it, it looks just like a perch.
It's a giant,
and you
giant
get
bluegill.
It's perfect size. It's not too big. It's a perfect size fillet. The 12 inchers, they're beautiful. They taste great. Anybody tells you different is just they're repeating bullshit.
When they're battered and fried, everything tastes the same anyway.
It's pretty much all this. It's just pretty much all the same.
Right.
So, and I totally derailed my train of thought. I did it to myself.
I don't know.
Where was I going with that rant?
I don't know.
God damn it.
Something about keeping fish.
What were we talking about before?
Well, we're talking about my buddy that kept 2 limits.
Oh, yeah. So this guy was
Texas or something.
He was live broadcasting him catching all these, just buckets of fish. The next day, he goes live, and he has all these fillets cleaned out, packaged up. Anybody wants to buy some of this fresh fish from me, get a hold of me.
Buy?
You
can't do that.
He was selling them.
You can't do that.
So I private messaged him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how things are in the state you're from, and I'm just letting you know where I'm from, you can get in big trouble for selling game fish. And his argument is like, I didn't say they were game fish. Well, anybody that ain't a fucking moron watching this just saw you catch nothing but bass the last 5 days, and you're going to try to pass that off as tilapia?
What goes on Facebook always stays on Facebook.
Well, and here's the thing, you don't have to convince me. I'm just literally, I wasn't like judgmental on him. I just was like, hey, you might want to.
I'm helping you out so you don't go to jail.
Exactly.
Right.
You might want to dial it back a little bit. Like, conservation officers do watch social media.
Yes.
They catch a lot
they do.
of people via social media. So you might want to. And he got really mad at me. I'm like, whatever. I just can't. I unfollowed him. I'm like, I don't want to be associated with this clown.
Don't tell me the truth. I don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah. I'm like, all right. What? I was just like, I just said, good luck to you. I mean, I hope you don't get caught. But, I mean, it's, especially you're talking about the South. You think bass grow good up here. I mean, down there. I mean.
Well, they got a longer growing season, Here they got 3-4 months to grow.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't have 10, 12, 14 pounders up here.
Yeah.
We got, a good one's a 3-4 pounder.
We got a bunch. But Minnesota got put on the bass map with having an MLF event and Bassmasters events the last 2 years.
Where do we have the MFL event?
Where
was that?
That was up in the Grand Rapids area. They fished Pokegama, they fished trout, and there was another lake. I can't remember. There was another lake they fished up there.
Trout.
Yeah, Trout Lake. It's a good lake for everything.
Yeah.
I don't think there's muskies in it, though.
I don't know.
Probably could be.
I know
'cause
there's
think
walleyes in it, though.
There's probably Cisco's in there, or Tullabees, one of the two.
There's definitely walleyes in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's walleyes in just about every puddle in this lake.
There's, I believe there's
We're in this
special regulations for the walleyes on there. I think it might be catch and release only.
Really?
I might be. I don't know. Unless it was that way when I fished it. It was like 3-4 years ago I fished it.
That's the Grand Rapids area trout.
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah.
No, they were up
very,
there.
very clear
and then
lake.
BASS did a event on Pokegama as well.
Okay.
And then again they were on Mille Lacs, and the following year the TOC was on Mille Lacs.
Yeah. I'm too damn busy to follow like all these different events.
Yeah, I don't really watch that much professional fishing. Or actually, honestly, when I came in here to do this, you had a fishing show. I'm like, oh yeah, I used to watch those.
Well, it's Saturday morning and I'm home.
I'm so busy.
This is about the only time
yeah.
if I'm home on Saturdays that I actually watch fishing.
Yeah, I'm doing my own stuff usually. I don't have time to.
Well, yeah, that's
to watch. Anything. I mean, I love it, and personally, I love the MLF format. And a lot of people say they don't like it, or
I don't really care. Either one works for me. It's the problem I have.
I do like both.
Is kind of how MLF is portraying themselves with, oh, we've got all the best, and they put out a post saying that the career earnings from their guys was way more than the other guys.
Yeah, well, that's because you're an elite thing. Yeah.
Well, that's because you just poached elite for their top money earners, and they were talking. Well, no, they were talking about the career earnings for their guys versus Bass.
Oh, sure.
Well, if you take the career earnings for MLF, you wouldn't have $1 in that bank because you're taking the career earnings from all the Bass and the FLW.
Yeah, Ike and Ellie talked about it on his podcast.
Yeah, they actually took that post down because they got so much heat from it.
Yeah, I believe it. But like what Ike said is they didn't force anybody to come to the MLF.
No.
They sent out invites, and if you wanted to do it, knowing the scheduling conflicts with the other leagues, knowing everything about it, that was your decision.
Right.
They didn't force anybody. Well, I think they have a good product. What I like about it is that it's more like an actual sporting event. There's live scoring.
Yeah.
It's like, can you imagine if there was a football game and you didn't know who won until they were done playing?
That'd be interesting.
Well, nobody's going to that. I mean, you're gonna go there to reveal the touchdowns. They're gonna just show you the highlights.
But fishing is a little but when you're watching an event, they do have the bass tracker and all that stuff throughout the day. So it's kind of the same thing.
If
it's
you
close.
tune into it on the app and stuff. But my point is that it's more of like I like it. I think it brings a different kind of excitement when you can see the leaderboard in real time.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I have no problem with a different league, a different format. If somebody wants to bring out another bass format with a completely different set of rules, I don't give a damn because all it is more exposure and more content for the outdoors, period.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just so when people, are bitching about, I want, MLF sucks or bass sucks or whatever, blah, blah. It's like, shut up. It's bass fishing. It's good for everything.
The Pepsi, Coke, the Ford, Chevy thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're such a tribal mentality that you have to pick your team, and you can't like all of them. You can only like one.
Well, of course, yeah.
It's just like politics. It's the same thing. Like, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Well, you're an idiot. Well, you're a snowflake. It's like they all use the same. They all use the same pejoratives against each other. Like somebody posted like the most true statement ever the other day. It was like politics or debating politics is like who can call the other side snowflakes first wins the argument. It's like, oh my God, it's so true.
Yep.
It's like
it's like, you're a snowflake. Oh, you're a Trumpster.
You're a conservative snowflake, or you're a libtard snowflake. Like, well, we can't all be snowflakes. I mean, I think everybody's just a little too triggered. Well, easily triggered. If you don't, I don't believe what
everybody is. Even the people that call snowflakes, and I've called people snowflakes, whatever, because
sometimes
they're snowflakes. Yeah. Yes. Where was it going with this?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
See, that's what happens. It's like a vortex.
I don't have a clue. Whatever. Oh, if you actually, right?
At least it's not just me.
No, God, no. I get going on something, then I just go,
yeah, where was
shit.
That? This is pretty much
how about
all
this?
My conversations go.
Right. No, it's funny because if you were to turn off Facebook, turn off TV, and just go outside and go meet your neighbors, go talk to people, just go talk to random people. Guess what? You're going to have shit in common. You're going to be fine.
It's much harder to call somebody a snowflake to their face.
Oh, yeah.
Really easy
because you'll get
behind
punched
your phone.
And you don't want to get punched.
Really. It's not even so much that. It's that the natural instinct of communicating with another human being kicks in. Like,
Well, people don't
unless
wanna
you're a
communicate.
legit asshole
Yeah.
and like to get people ruffle their feathers, even face to face, which, like we said, there's a
There's
certain
some of those,
percentage of the population that is just how they are.
Yeah.
Most people, even if they completely disagree, will be polite to your face,
Oh God, yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
There's no polite to your Facebook face.
No, well, there's no polite to anything. If we're
there's
not
like-
face to face, I don't have to. Here's the deal: if we're not face to face, I don't have to be nice to you because you never see me
Yeah,
in
and-
person,
and
and I
here's
can
the
say
thing.
whatever I want.
Yeah, because I believe this is the reason why is because I don't see in real time how what I say affects you.
Right.
Affects your mood. If I say something that actually is offensive, and I don't mean like offensive in today's generation, like
Well,
I'm
yeah.
triggered. I mean like
Snowflake.
I actually insulted something
Yeah.
like to your core that matters, and I see your face change, whether it's sadness, whether it's anger. I see it in real time. Your natural instinct as the person saying it, like, oh, I fucked up. You're like, sorry, and you'll start
Yeah. Well,
kind of
we've all done
tiptoeing
that.
around it. You'll
Yep.
be like, no, I didn't mean it like that. Like you said, maybe you
Yep.
didn't, and maybe it's true. Maybe you didn't mean it to be offensive, but it came off as offensive. So you start to amend it
We've
because
all
you
said
don't
stuff
want
like that.
to offend
Yeah.
the other. You don't naturally want to offend the other person. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. I mean, there are people that do, and they're assholes.
Well, and there are people that deserve it. So yeah, there's sometimes you
So-
want to hurt that person's feelings, but they
but
deserve it
online,
too.
you don't. That is gone.
Yes. No, it's the keyboard warrior mentality, and the sad thing is that it's not just politics. It's hunting and fishing. It's that
everything.
deer there. I had somebody
you
go.
would get
I had somebody go. Why didn't you let it grow another year? I go because that's the
deer,
big
bro.
Yeah, that's the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life, and guess what? I was going to shoot it.
Huh.
I don't really give a damn.
Yeah, do you? Yeah, you'd catch a ton.
I
of
don't
heat
think
for
I've
that.
I don't think I've ever put that one on Facebook.
I would for sure.
The
With the
velvet?
little red nose
I
right
don't.
in the middle.
I don't know if I did. I don't know if I have or not. But I thought that was actually a doe when I shot it because
Well,
it was so
I can
dark
see
out.
why, and
Yeah.
the ears probably hid the antlers.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's kind of cool.
No, it's a full velvet 6. It's
Yeah.
a freaking giant.
It's a giant.
It's like 40 inches of pure velvet rack right
what is
there.
that? That's like a 4 or
I don't
5 inch spread.
Something like that. And it's,
But you know what? The brow tines are about
Oh,
the
yeah.
same size. Actually, that
Actually,
one might be
the
bigger
velvet's
than
got bigger brow tine. I never noticed that. Thanks. I never noticed that.
that one. Does it? Maybe it's got some mule deer in its lineage.
Yeah, something like that.
It's
It could.
the little tiny points right at the brow there.
Yep.
Well, again, you've got more hard-horn deers hanging in your house than I do.
I don't
so.
even care. I've always been the type of guy that, look, if I shoot something like that, I shoot something like that. Now, I have a
Right.
rule. I won't shoot anything that's smaller than that.
Sure.
It's got to be at least as big as that or bigger.
Yeah. Well,
Because what's the point?
Here's
What's the point?
thing.
If I shoot another small one, I don't even care if it's slightly smaller than that in velvet. I've already got a smaller one in velvet right there. So if I'm going to shoot it and go on my wall, it's got to be bigger than that. Otherwise, I'll let somebody else have that mount.
Right. Now I could easily get the monkey off my back, the hard-horn monkey off my back by shooting a spike
Yeah, but what's the
or a
point?
fork,
You-
and I let those walk. I've let that buck walk 8,000 times. Okay, maybe not 8,000. It might be a
7,000.
smidge of a exaggeration, but yeah, I mean I've literally watched those bed down below my stand.
Right.
I have no. I'm not going to shoot that.
Yeah.
I mean, not because I'm looking for a 200-inch deer.
Yeah.
I just want a standard 8-point Minnesota buck.
Right.
Just like a
So-
typical
so the
standard looking.
Standard
Just-
Minnesota 8-point buck, so that's going to be about
Like
a year and a half old deer,
Right.
and it's going to be about a
probably gonna look a lot like that.
110. Oh yeah, that
It's
one
gonna
right
look
there.
a lot like a
Yeah.
3-year-old deer. That might be even
Yeah.
a 2-year-old.
Well, it's funny because I said I haven't shot a lot of deer. Well, that's mainly because I pass on shit tons of
Yeah.
little bucks and does. It's like I
Yeah.
don't care
And
about
I'm
stuff
not in
like
it for
that.
the horn. Do I
Yeah.
want a 200? Would I like a 200? I would. If I shot a 200-inch deer last October, I'd probably still be shaking right now.
Right.
Like, yes,
Right.
I want a large
Yeah.
swamp donkey, but
Yeah.
that's not my main.
If I
goal.
if I shoot a buck, it's going to be a good buck.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why shoot
When
it?
I shoot
If
doe,
I
I'll shoot a doe for meat.
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
like I don't need to shoot the basket
Yeah.
6 or the basket 8.
I'll let
There's no-
somebody else go shoot that animal.
There's
if they
no
want.
reason.
I don't care if the neighbor wants to shoot it.
And that's the thing. Like,
Neighbor
and
can
it
shoot
goes
it.
just like we said. If you don't think 100% like I do, you're in the wrong. I mean, that's how people are. And there's just not everybody. Some people, the only time they hunt is that for anything is that 2-week firearm season.
Oh yeah.
And
well, and that's
they literally just
what,
want to put food in the freezer. And
Yes.
if a legal buck pops out
Yep.
and it's a spike, they're shooting it
Yep.
because they're going to eat it. And it's not up to you to go in and shame that guy because he doesn't have the same ideals and hunting ethics or what standards that you have. He's hunting for a completely different reason, and it's not wrong, and he's within his rights to do so. So how about you just back off?
I used to border/step across that line of being that guy going, oh, well, you're just a gun hunter. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And, I'm better than you,
Right.
and blah, blah, blah. And, you shouldn't shoot a deer unless it's this big or that big. I don't give a damn anymore.
That's why
I
I've
don't
always
care.
said
Just,
I'm
it's
my
your
own
license.
paradox.
It's your
just,
license. You fill it.
It's just like I said. If I'm, or how you kind of called me out at the beginning of this podcast. I'm a meat hunter, but yet I'm doing it the hardest way. If I literally was a meat hunter, I'd use a gun.
Right.
Be done
Right,
and
right,
over
right,
with.
yeah.
Go out there, shoot. But that's just not the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
What I'm getting out of it, I'm hunting within the confines of the law, and the way I choose to do it is I want to take it with my bow. That's just how I want to do it.
Yep.
I'm not looking to be held in some high esteem by fellow hunters. That's just what it means to me. That's how I want to do it. That's how I'm fulfilled with doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right. It's not wrong. That's just how I like to do it.
Yeah.
But that same thing happens in the waterfowl world too, especially with goose hunters.
Oh,
Once they let people
boy.
hunt water for their early season, all the field hunters, and I'm primarily a field hunter, they lost their shit. Oh, they're busting all our roosts.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, not everybody has access to every field. Not everybody can just go run out and buy
Exactly.
5 dozen full-body goose decoys. Maybe they only have a dozen floaters they inherited from the grandpa, and you want to tell them because it doesn't fit into the way that you want to harvest them that they don't get to do that because it's affecting your hobby.
Right. Right.
No, I'm sorry.
It
I
happens.
don't agree with that. One of the fields we hunt gets busted every year on youth opener because the roost,
Oh, yeah.
the standard roost is left alone until the youth opener,
Yep.
and they go in there at first light. You hear them leave a half hour before the sun comes up or an hour, and you're like, well, there goes those birds.
Yep.
But that's just how it is.
It is what it is. There's
It's
no.
just how
and here's
they have
and here's
every
the thing.
right to do that.
Yeah, and here's the you have every right to do that. And here's the thing. When it comes to the amount of people that are hunting and fishing these days, the numbers are going down. So how about instead of being a dick
Yeah.
and pushing these people out, and getting mad at them,
Right.
and then we lose more people, how about we just shut the hell up and do our own things?
Or if it's an area like this and you know who's hunting it, and I think they do, how about you go in there and you go like, hey, you guys want to join us on a goose hunt? Instead
Yeah.
of shooting ducks
Yeah.
on youth opener, come out to the field with us.
Yep.
We got blinds for you. You can use our, just sit with us, hunt with us. Then they're going to get a different experience. They're going to have a lot of fun. Nobody busts the roost.
Right.
Does anybody do that? No. And
No.
we could, but it doesn't. I mean, we're all like, well, they got busted again. And we know what's going to happen
if you
before
know
we
what's
go
gonna
into
happen,
it.
yeah.
It's just, and but that's the thing. It's not the only place that holds birds. We still end up shooting birds in that
Exactly.
field. They just don't come from that pond.
Exactly.
Yes, those are the birds that you patterned, but we know they're not going to be there.
Yeah, it's just
On that
adjusting.
day,
It's adjusting.
That Saturday, they're not
Yes.
going to be there.
It's just adjusting
how it is.
to everything. That's all it is. It's go back to like zebra mussels for a minute. Zebra mussels come in, changes how you got to fish, so you adjust. Well, guess what? You know that's going to happen in that water source.
No,
Gonna
it
have
needs to
adjust.
be the same as the way my grandpa fished
Oh, I'm sorry.
for him in 1972.
So also no limits and
Yes.
You
Back
can
to
catch 'em out
market
of,
hunting.
You can
Back-
catch them on a grub all day long and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, people are short-sighted and
Yeah.
selfish. They only want what they want.
Well,
I
it's funny.
guess we can sit there and beat our heads against that wall all day, and that's not
Oh,
going to
God,
change
yeah,
either.
yeah,
But
No, it's kind of funny because doing the podcast, it's changed a lot of how I perceive things because I'm seeing all these different points of view from the people I have on to how people react to them.
oh,
you
for
know?
sure.
So
And
it's
these long-form. I mean,
Yeah.
we've pretty much agreed on, I think, everything.
yeah,
but-
pretty much. This is the most
except for the
boring
trolling.
podcast. Trolling is king. Like I said, if I can cast for it, I'd rather do that. But
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah, I'll fish for walleyes.
break out the 9-foot heavy rods
pitching
and
a little,
some lead
fireball jig or something. That can be fun when
Oh
they're
yeah,
really snapping.
dude, that's almost around the corner.
Yeah, it's
2
really
weeks.
close. That's
2
in the
weeks.
spring. That's a spring thing primarily when they're in shallow.
Uh huh.
It's just like Mille Lacs. When I'm gonna do the brace yourself meme. I'm gonna make a meme for
God.
Mille Lacs for smallmouth fishermen in June when everybody can catch giant smallmouth.
Brace
when they're in
yourselves, the
close.
smallmouth
They're not.
picture
Yeah.
coming.
Brace yourself. Brace yourself. The smallmouth pros are coming.
Oh God!
Because everybody. I mean, I noticed it last year that the month of June, everybody was portraying themselves as Kevin Van Dam, just smashing these.
well, that's the
giant
thing is,
smallmouth. It's like you literally can go up there. Like
Yes.
anybody can catch those right now. Talk to me in the middle of August.
well, it's that way with even walleyes. Like when people go, oh yeah, I got a 27, 28,
Yeah.
29, summer or winter, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You see all the pictures on Facebook. Oh, we were up in Mille Lacs and we caught this fish. Da, 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 da. I'm like,
Golf clap. Yep. Good job.
good job, bro.
Yeah.
So did the 10-year-old girl I saw
Yeah,
pictures of
exactly.
at this resort, and the 4-year-old kid here,
Yeah.
and the 89-year-old
Relax was
man.
great right up till February.
Yeah, it's like big deal. So everybody's
Like
catching
every
big
year.
fish. Yeah, you're not a pro if you go to Mille Lacs and you catch big fish. Trust me, I can do it. I'm not a pro. Anybody can catch big fish on Mille Lacs. There's nothing special other than you get a cool profile
But
picture.
I get it, and then it's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss it. Like,
No, go
yeah,
up there,
if you
catch
like to
fish.
catch
Yes.
football,
Oh, yeah.
smallmouth. You
Oh,
want
God, yeah.
a legit shot at a 23-incher.
Yeah.
You should be on Mille Lacs Lake in June.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you should
Yep.
be on Mille Lacs.
Dude,
in
I caught
June.
a 20, what the hell was that thing? 21 and a half, 22, and it was just a
They're
fat,
brutes, dude.
fat
They're
son of
just
a bitch.
brutes.
Off a rock pile with a leech for walleye.
Yeah, well, you're doing
So
it
it's
backwards.
not-
You're supposed to fish for bass and then accidentally catch walleyes.
I was accidentally catching smallmouth. So it's not that hard to catch giant fish, basically of any kind, on that fishery.
Yeah, well,
So
my personal best northern came off that lake this winter while I was fishing for walleyes.
how big?
43 inches.
43. Shit.
Yeah.
Got me by an inch.
2 days later, I caught a 36.
Nice.
Same spot. For
Yeah, I
the
got-
same thing.
I got 242s.
I did say, I mean, I was
Biggins.
technically fishing for walleyes, but I knew pike was an option because they'll go pretty far. I've seen them way out on the flats too, but
Yeah.
I was fishing kind of a shallower saddle, rock gravel saddle. And the minnow I used tip downs this year, which I really like.
Like the Sullivan tip down things?
I don't
or
remember.
were
Honestly,
they-
don't remember what brand it was.
Okay.
But it's tip down's a tip down, a tip down.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Tips
yeah.
down, flag goes up. You got to fish,
Right.
pick it up.
Not a
you're
tip
reeling
up,
in. Yeah,
an
so
actual
it's
tip
not.
down.
Yeah, you're not hand over hand.
Yep.
Your reel's there. Tip of the reel is up. The flag attaches like the butt of the rod.
Yep.
It goes down. Flag goes off. Blah 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 blah. You go set the hook. So I had, but I did pick a very large, the biggest minnow I had in my bucket because I'm like, I might catch a northern on this. I don't know.
Mille Lacs,
And I might
it'll-
catch a big, a bigger than average walleye if I give him a bigger bait.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a large mud minnow,
Oh, really?
which some people claim walleyes don't eat. And that's bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Oh, they're not going to eat this giant juicy bait fish with 0 spines on it? Yeah, I'm sure they're going to hate that.
Yep.
No, they gobble them up, and that's when I caught that northern on. I actually I can't remember what bait shop I went to. I stopped. This is when there was like
you can
a
do whatever you
shiner.
want. We're fine.
There was like a shiner. Yeah, whatever you got to do. You want to do you do your Pilates in here? We're cool. Whatever. It's all good. Don't matter. It was like a shiner shortage
Oh, yeah.
for a while, and they didn't have them, but they had a tank. They had like separated the mud minnows. He's like,
Really?
I said, well, give me a bunch of those mud minnows. Like, oh, you just give those away for free. I'm like, well, I'll take all of them.
Yeah, give me the whole tank.
I'll take the whole thing. He fished out. I think I got like 2 dozen of them, and they didn't charge me a dime.
Really?
Like,
Nice.
well, I like this. Let's just keep pushing that walleyes don't eat these.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
it's
free
just
bait
so-
all the time.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah,
don't-
and I did
horrible.
catch fish on them that weekend.
Oh, yeah?
They're gonna eat them, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're just
Fish don't care. People get so wrapped up. It's
gotta be a
hilarious.
real red-tailed chub, bro.
Well,
That's what the bite is.
yeah, red tails versus normal creek chubs, we'll say. The only place I've kind of noticed a trend where they do rather have red tails is Leech Lake. Like they would rather go for an actual red tail over a creek chub. But they will still eat creek chubs, trust me. I know
I
this.
believe that
So-
there are times when like match the hatch matters more than it doesn't. And I would say that probably in those times you're noticing it, there's probably a red tail spawn going on or something.
Yeah, could be.
There's something where they're keying in that there's more of
Spot tail
those.
shiners.
There's more of those in abundance in a certain window of time.
Yeah.
So that's what they're keying in on.
So their instincts are just kind of like, oh, okay,
It's like when the mayfly hatch is going on, people like can't catch any fish. It's like, well, have you tried using something that looks like a mayfly? Because that's what they're eating.
Slow death on a white spinner.
Yeah. A little black flu or something under a slip bobber.
Yep.
Probably work.
I mean,
that's what they're eating. So they're eating them because it's a resource. There's millions of them. Like, I should chase down a perch when I can literally eat 5 pounds of these just swimming.
Right, just swim with my mouth open and then just sucks them up.
Yeah,
like a basking whale.
Walleye fishermen, they have more excuses than they have jigs in their tackle box. They're the worst. Sorry, I'm calling them out.
No.
They are the worst.
Well, are they?
Oh, the mayfly hatch. That's the dog
but
days
it
of
does
summer.
actually.
It does affect
it. It does actually. It's not an excuse. It's like the truth. It's just you have to find a new way to catch them.
They have more excuses than any other. Or I hear them complain about it more. Maybe that's what it is.
That's why.
But I don't generally hear musky fishermen's bitch.
That's because musky fishermen know that they're not going to catch a fish.
Or how about bass
fishermen? So if they do, the bass fishermen can go out and catch fish. You can always catch a bass.
Oh, the crayfish molt was going, so we just didn't get them. The crankbait bite just sucked. Well, yeah, because you weren't. There very well may have been a.
Yeah, but you just use something else to catch a bass.
Exactly, but
so you can always catch a bass.
But that's what the walleye fishermen aren't doing. They're not adapting. They're just going, well, we always catch them on this and this time of year in this body of water. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I guess I come from
not working now, so why don't you try something else?
When it comes to walleyes, I guess I come from the tournament world, so we know we can learn to adapt, and we.
Well, yeah, that's a totally different.
Like
thing.
I don't know what it's like to just be kind of just a normal Joe tournament or walleye fisherman, because I fished walleye tournaments.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I know how to overcome and adapt and go out and catch some sort of fish.
Tournament fishing does change the way you fish.
Oh yeah.
Even for yourself. When I joined the Minnesota Made Ice Fishing League, it's like. We moved around a lot. We were already fishing shallows for big panfish. Just, me and my buddies, we were already doing that. But now it's just elevated us where it's like I got a camera just for scouting. Yep. So even once the season was over, we still brought that camera because we're like, one hole. Are there any weeds? Nope. Keep moving.
Oh, yeah.
Are they live weeds? Is it cabbage? Is it coontail?
Yeah, not just weeds. Like, what kind of weeds?
Because on your Vexlar, I'm like, oh, there's weeds here, and we might try it and not catch a fish. Yeah. And then keep moving. Well, with the camera, you drop that down, you're like, well, those weeds are dead. That's why.
Yep.
Or that's coontail, and they want to be in the cabbage.
Yeah,
Let's just find the right type of weeds or the right mixture of weeds or whatever you find fish on. Repeat that on another part of the lake, and the fish should be there.
Right. Are they in the gravel or in the mud? Are they in the transition?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it definitely it changes the way you fish. So if you've been tournament bass or walleye fishing, for sure you're gonna attack it on your own time. Totally different than the average fisherman.
Yeah. So tournament anything. Any tournament. Doesn't matter what kind of tournament.
You're honing a blade. Yep. I mean, you're sharpening it.
Well, you the thing with tournaments is that you have to catch fish.
Yeah.
It's not just we're going fishing.
Oh, they didn't bite today.
Whatever. Yeah. So we went sunny fishing.
Yeah,
no. You got to go catch 5 big-ass fish, whatever size, whatever bass or walleye or whatever. You got to go catch 5 big-ass fish, regardless of the conditions of the weather, whether they want to bite or not. Yep. If there's a molt or a mayfly hatch or the weeds ain't up yet, you got to go catch fish.
And we totally got sight. You know how this whole rabbit hole started?
Well,
we
were talking about me and like my background.
That's where I was going with it. We're on the same page.
And I think it stopped about
5 minutes into it. We weren't even talking about fishing yet. We were
I hunt and fish and shit, and I like to talk about it. That's about it.
So when did you decide that you wanted to do a podcast?
What are we, 2019 now? I think it was about I started listening to podcasts about 3 years ago, and I've always thought, it's kind of cool and be neat to have a podcast, but what the hell am I going to talk about? And how entertaining am I by myself? Are people going to want to listen to just me?
Right.
So it's like, all right, well, I was listening to Rogan and random podcasts here and there, and then I started listening to, just looking up fishing and hunting
outdoor
podcasts.
Ones, yep.
Yeah, just outdoor ones, and just seeing the different stuff. And then, I'm like, all right, well, if I do a podcast, how do I want to do it? I don't want it to be just me, so I need to have guests. How do I get guests? Well, being that I tournament fish, I'm in the industry for the past 10 years or whatever. I know
You got
a lot
network.
I know a lot of people. So, all right, cool. I can get people. And then I just went out, bought a microphone about end of September last year, and literally just talked into it for about 2 weeks. Just read stuff.
Yeah.
Just made. I would literally do an interview by myself. Yeah. I was interviewing somebody, asking random questions. Nobody was across from me, and I just started contacting people, lined up people. I had four in the books beforehand, and my biggest thing is every single week I have a podcast. Every Monday
That's what
afternoon.
I'm trying to do, and I've failed recently, but it's hard. It's hard to line people up, and
it can be.
I finally told myself I need to just do this, and the first one I did was just me rambling about whatever.
I recorded like 4 of those.
Oh, it's terrible.
And I couldn't I couldn't listen to one.
But I had to put it out because I needed to break the ice.
Yeah.
And just do it because there was just too many. I was making too many excuses. No, I gotta have this person or this guest. I need 5 lined up before I record my first one. It's like, well, if you always keep that out of reach.
Yep.
That
always
cushion's just going to keep, and I'm like, I need to make this real.
Yep.
And if that means I got to sit down and I just got to ramble for 6 straight episodes until I start lining up people, because part of that is just getting to learn your equipment.
Yeah.
Right? And get ready to how to edit, how to whatever, all this stuff. You got to work kinks out. So it's you're not going to do you want to do that with your first guest? So you have a guest and it sounds like shit and they don't want to listen to it. So I finally was like, I need to just do it.
Yep.
And I did it. And I rambled. And it was what you would expect it would be.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it wasn't that great.
Yeah, and that's what I did. But, I would record them. I would edit them, everything. But I just go, I'm not putting that shit out there.
Yeah.
It's just me rambling on about whatever. So I kind of had, I knew how to do the equipment. I knew what my, kind of, I don't want to say a format because I don't have a format. It's just like right now we're just talking. I have a couple little things like the Master Angler program, and I do a news of the week.
Yours is actually more structured than mine.
Yeah,
quite a bit. I mean, mine is about as free form as it gets.
It is. Yeah, I can't wait to see when you start this one because it's like
probably right away. Actually, I think the technical stuff we talked about is.
Yeah.
I find it interesting. If there's anybody out there that's looking.
Well, if you're looking to get into it,
they're going to soak it up.
Yeah, get into it.
Hey, there's a little thing, little slider. If you're bored, you want to get right to the fishing thing, just fast forward 5 minutes.
Hit 30 seconds, 30
just
seconds,
whatever.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah. But yeah, I just I lined up my first 4 guests, recorded them all before I released my first one. I wish I would have known to release them all at the same time because that's what they tell you to do when you come out with a podcast. You should actually release because 3 or 4.
Right, and I want to do that too, but I couldn't get one, so I'm like, I just need to put something out.
Yeah, but it's funny because like starting out, it just kind of started out typically just it was me and Greg from Beto's Bait and Tackle, and we just were talking, and there wasn't like a Hall of Fame deal and this and that and the other. But I don't want segments, but the Hall of Fame thing is neat.
I'm gonna do that Hall of Fame thing this year.
Yeah. I give people shout outs. I take a Master Angler Award winner, we'll say, and I mention them on the show, and then I do a news of the week because there's I figured we'll do 1 or 2 news things. Just if there's something like new regulations coming out or there's a story of something that's really big out or whatever, just let people know stuff. I don't know if I might not always do it.
I was going to kind of do that before I started getting a guest.
Yep.
And it's just how it worked. I was prepared to do a weekly one just myself.
Yeah.
But I did my one, and it's like, then I got a guest right away.
Right.
It's like almost like worked,
Yeah.
It's what the universe wanted me to do, or whatever.
Right.
I don't get too flowery, but I mean, that was my big hurdle to cross, and I finally was like, I can't keep using this as a crutch to not get this podcast off the ground. And once I just started it, then it started to happen.
Yeah.
But my idea was to just pretty much open up Facebook and go through all the different fishing and hunting groups I'm on and just patrol, just peruse through there and find the subjects that people were talking about and then give my perspective on it.
Yeah. I just
kind
of
of go on long tangents and, whatever else. But
I mean, mine, I want it to be all outdoors, and we've had a couple hunting ones. We've got a trapping one coming up. It might be out. Well, it's actually coming out tomorrow. Of course, now that we're talking past tense in this. But anyway, so I want it all outdoors. But it is mainly fishing because we're in Minnesota. If we were in Nevada, it'd be mostly hunting.
Yeah. Well, if people followed mine, it's like in the wintertime, it was ice fishing.
Yeah.
and then got into spring snow goose season. So I had a couple goose guys on. Now we're getting back into fishing again because the lakes are open. People are fishing. But I have next week, I'm actually pretty excited. I got a guy called, his site's Gentleman Forager.
Oh.
And I can't remember, but I've been following him on Facebook for quite a while. He had a different name now, and it's been so long ago I can't remember what it was. And then he changed it. And then he got he made a business out of it. So he sells wild mushrooms to restaurants, and he forages all sorts of stuff. But that's starting to come in big time. I'm starting to see people post. Actually, people are finding morels in Minnesota, southern Minnesota, a couple here and there. I mean, it's still good 2 weeks, in my opinion, before it gets hot and heavy. But
still, it gets popping.
And people are gonna go crazy.
Poppin'.
But I mean, I like to forage. I like to procure wild foods. And so this morning, with my scrambled eggs, I went out and I grabbed some nettle leaves and some dandelion leaves and sauteed them up and threw them right in with my eggs. It's great.
Hey, hun, next time I'm talking about my wife, people. Next time we do some eggs.
I hope you're not referring to me.
No, not you and my wife. You want to do some dandelion leaves or something with the two?
It's really good.
No? No? Oh, she's allergic to them.
You're allergic to dandelions?
I don't know.
Lots of green things outside.
She can't roll around in the grass. She's allergic.
Huh. Well, no rolling hay for you. That sucks.
No, but we can roll in the cotton. Yeah. But yeah, so
so I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Same thing. Like Full Scale Outdoors from its inception was supposed to be a very big umbrella that covered everything outdoors. It was everything that I like to do outdoors, and I've trapped in the past, and I've hunted, and I fish, and now I forage, and so it's all those things. And it can even be, I don't hike just for the sake of hiking very often. If I'm hiking, I'm usually on my way somewhere.
Yep.
But if down the line somebody, a world-renowned hiker, if that is such a thing, I'm sure there is. I'd love to have him on.
Well, I just had an episode come out that it was an author, and he writes kids' books based on his diary, his personal diary or journal on his outdoor adventures.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, for me, it's anything outdoors. Painters. I got some painters, some guys, artists that paint and this and that. I'm probably going to have them on at some point. I have falconry. I know some people in the falconry.
Really cool.
Yeah, so I got a lot of different people lined up that are just different, and I'm always looking for people.
Yeah, same here. If anybody listen to this,
camping tips and preppers. Hey, preppers. You want to? I'd love to do a prepping episode. That'd be phenomenal.
I don't know that I could do that because I would
survivalists.
I would get too far down some sort of like end of the world rabbit hole, and we'll just be talking about what's your zombie plan, and then that's could be fun though. I have a plan. Do you have a plan? Are you prepared for the zombie apocalypse? I kind of sort of have
zombie apocalypse I'm not worried about because all I got to do is sit up top in my upstairs and pick them off with 22s in the brain, right? I mean, that's how easy it's supposed to be.
When you run out of ammo.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
I'll start shooting the bow, and then I'll go get my arrow back out of their head like this because my arrow
does it pass through?
Exactly.
A rotten skull doesn't just zip through like a
crossbow.
Hot knife through, just stops 3 inches in every time.
Yeah, a crossbow from
you must have that thing set to about 12 pounds.
Well, yeah, because he pulls it back by hand every time.
Right, yeah. Whatever, you're ruining the show.
Bigfoot, real or not?
No.
Probably not. I'm sure.
No. I want to believe it, but I'm sorry. With the technology we have out there, we have trail cameras, drones, heat sensing technologies. We got satellites that can read the year on your quarter.
Not in America, anyway.
No. We're not. No.
Maybe in the heart of the Amazon, there's some sort of wild
there's
creature.
A Himalayan Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible.
Maybe.
I'd love it to be true. I mean, I would.
Would you
love
though?
It. Yeah.
Because then the myth is over, and we're not wondering. See, that's the thing.
No, but
if you've ever listened to the Rogan podcast,
it doesn't end it though.
Giraffes or Yetis, which one is a crazier animal? The giraffe. The Yeti's just a big furry human. The giraffe is a 20-foot tall thing, long ass neck. That's an amazing creature.
But there's a bunch of them though.
That's why we don't care.
Yeah, but what if there was only one giraffe? You would be like, there's that. Someone caught that giraffe on camera. Yeah, it would still be a big deal.
We've got it. But then we've got it.
But it'd still be a big deal.
It's like, okay, it's true.
It's something to explore.
Yeah, but we've proved it's real. The thing is that we can't prove that Yeti's real or the Loch Ness Monster is real.
Yeah, Loch Ness isn't real either.
Yeah.
I don't believe that one for a second.
You never know.
Kind of do. Go in there, some Garmin Live Scope.
I was going to say, nobody's brought out the old mega imaging up there yet?
Yeah. What I just talked about the other day is like as good as the Garmin Live Scope is, where you can see fish swimming like in real time, and like that's a long, a skinny one, that's like a pike or a muskie. Like you can tell, like you can just tell. As great as that technology is, and most of this technology, if not all of it, is like ex-military stuff. And when they release it to the public, that shit's old and dirt.
Oh, yeah.
So right now they're using stuff that like you can
yeah.
count the scales on the crappie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's stuff they're using.
Oh, yeah.
And Live Scope is garbage to them.
And I can't wait till that stuff comes out on the new Humminbird Helix Maximus 52-inch that I'll just have at the front of my boat.
No, here it is. The deck of your boat, the actual deck
Will be a screen.
will be a screen.
Actually, you know what it'll be? We'll just be wearing goggles. It'll be
goggles?
VR goggles. And we'll be able to stand on the front of my boat, and I'll be able to look down into the water and see everything.
But see, wouldn't it be better if your deck was? Because then you can still look off to the side. Well,
You
you got to know
combine
if
that
somebody's
with the
coming,
VR?
going to run into you.
You combine that with
You
the
probably
VR.
could.
Though? Yeah.
Probably be a way to do it.
Mhm.
Or you just have one of those little side windows that comes around the little
Google Glass.
The Google glasses, a little
Dude,
cyborg
those-
thing that flips down.
Well, it's like in the military, flying helicopters and planes. They got the things that slide down, flip down.
There's a little Siri voice in your earpiece that tells you there is a 21-inch bass under that dock, 50 yards to your right.
Exactly. Then I'll like Siri. But for now, she's just a pain in the ass.
I have the New Zealands here. I have her set to New Zealand accent because it's just funnier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They got a New Zealand accent?
Yeah.
Nice.
You got all sorts of different ones you can put in there. But
Fantastic.
I got the female New Zealand one. It's exotic.
Is she sexy?
Not really. Not
No.
as sexy as I'd like.
Not like the
No.
airport gal in the British
No.
accent?
No.
The time is 5:45.
It's kind of like that.
Oh, it
but
is?
it's,
Oh.
It's very polite. I think that's why it's not as sexy. You know, if she
she
was a little
she's gotta
rougher
be-
around the edges, it might be better.
Yep.
And she's like, Dale, turn left.
I don't know where this podcast is going to at this point.
You are
That's
on the
it's a good
quickest
one.
route. Huh, you do know me.
Right.
Anyways,
30 seconds later. Jesus.
what time is it? You got somebody
2:33.
come at 3 o'clock,
3
right?
o'clock. How long have we been going for? Gotta be at least 2 hours.
Yeah, well, 2
2
hours,
hours.
13 minutes.
Right on.
So we can wrap this thing up. So we never
Alright.
did like an
Well, everybody-
official announcement because
Yeah.
I'll if you've listened to mine, I usually do a little
Mm-hmm.
monologue in the beginning, and
Yep.
so then I'll do all the stuff. But
Yep.
now's a perfect time to tell everybody who you are, where they can find you.
Well, my name is Doug Glimmerveen. I'm just the idiot with the microphone, the camera, and the dream. Smackdown Outdoors Podcast is the name of the podcast. You can find me on Facebook. I got a website, but whatever.
Are you on the particular platforms or all of the platforms?
I'm basically
or?
everywhere. Yeah, Facebook, and then there's YouTube. Got a YouTube channel. That's going to have like fishing and hunting, like videos that I do and whatnot too. I do have the episodes on that, but literally everywhere. As far as I know, if you don't find me somewhere, let me know and I'll get it there.
You
But
can
we're
add it.
talking
Yeah, mine's the same
Apple,
way. Yeah.
Galaxy stuff. I use
haven't got-
Podbean myself as my favorite.
That reminds me, I have to look. I should be on iHeartRadio.
You should be because it's like 2 months. Yeah.
2 months.
Yep,
And,
I'm on there.
But I haven't.
Yep.
I think they said they're supposed to email me a.
They'll email you when you're
I don't
able
know if
to.
I've
yeah.
gotten that. So, and I did that a while ago. I better check up on that. Maybe I didn't check a box that I was supposed to check or something.
Could be. I don't know.
I better look into that. But
Yep.
he's available everywhere.
Yep, everywhere.
Podcasts are found.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
And then, like the last Thursday of the month on Facebook, I do a Facebook Live, kind of questions and answers. This last Thursday, we did a actual podcast that we did live on
I saw
Facebook too.
that.
So yeah, we're gonna.
So you recorded
just-
that at the same time, and then do you
Yep.
release that as a
We're,
standalone?
yeah,
too?
it'll be I don't know a week or two, something like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good way to
basically
do it.
anywhere. Smackdown Outdoors Podcast. The name, it's just a name I had from when I first started out
was
with the
just
whole
gonna ask
camera and the dream. You know, everybody
Smackdown.
at that point was all Smackdown. I'm giving them the Smackdown.
Lay
And
the smackdown in your candy ass.
I kind of sort of love and hate it at the same time, you know?
That's good. It's catchy. I
Yeah,
like it.
you know, SDO podcast.
There you go.
So,
It's FSO.
Yeah.
But there's another FSO, and I can't remember what it is.
FSO. It sounds familiar.
I don't know. So I don't refer to it as I don't refer to mine as FSO. I just say full scale.
Full scale.
Yeah.
Full scale. Yeah. So, yeah. So come
I think
find me.
it's catchy.
Give me a like. Give me a share.
We'll do
Give me
that.
a comment.
I'll
Whatever.
post it up. We'll blast this all over my pages, and then I'll be on yours.
Yeah. And then, I'll when you put it out, I'll share it.
Oh, probably tell all the same stories. Whatever.
Probably.
That's what happens.
Yeah. Like we said, man, it's it's one of these things that we work together, more content. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And you get two guys that have their own podcasts, and we don't know really what to talk about, so we end up bouncing around.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
No, it's great.
And
it's like when you first contacted me, you were like, I don't see other podcasts as competition, and
No.
I'm 100%.
Not in the least.
I don't either. And if you look at a lot of the really successful podcasts out there, like Joe Rogan's and all the other comedians,
Yep.
they all cross-pollinate.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Yep.
It only helps.
Well, I can steal some of your fans. You can steal some of my fans.
Yeah.
Guess what?
But they're not really stolen because
No.
it's not like they leave. They stop
They're still gonna
listening to me
listen to you,
because
yeah.
they listen to you.
Yeah.
They're going to tune in. If they tune into yours because of this and they like what they hear, they're going to continue. It's like you only watch one
I didn't
show
mean
on
steal
TV.
it. Yeah, I didn't mean steal it.
No, I know,
as
but
in-
I mean
yeah.
like that term
Oh, yeah.
could be construed as like,
Yeah.
well, now that's one less for
I
me.
can
And that's
gain
like
some
the
of your
opposite
fans.
of what,
Yes.
yeah, you get an additional listeners or viewers, depending on what outlet they're going with, then awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, the more interest we can drum up for the outdoors in general, the better for all parties involved because
And
the
the thing
numbers
with
are
the-
going down. So
And the thing with the outdoor podcast, too, is that we're so niche in the outdoor world, and there's so few of us compared to a Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
The guy's got, however many
Oh.
million people that follow him.
unbelievable.
But he's also a celebrity before that, so he
Right.
had the following.
Right.
Where hunters and outdoorsmen, unless we're, freaking Jim Shockey or whatever, it's tough for us to get going. So, yeah, for me
But
and
even
you
with Jim
and these
Shockey
guys.
is only known pretty much in the hunting world.
Right.
Yeah, he's done some stuff in like Discovery Channel, I think,
Yeah.
from time to time. But for the most part, even as big of a name as Jim Shockey is, he's not reaching non-hunters. Really,
Yeah, I suppose.
not in any.
No, well,
because
no,
you're just
yeah,
not going to
yeah.
search out a
Right.
hunting podcast if you're
Right.
not a hunter.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
but that's why I try to just keep it entertaining. I got a couple people that say they've tuned in and they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but
Oh,
it's
yeah,
funny.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
that's just
Well,
as
my
good,
neighbor-
if not better.
My neighbor right there in that house, he's not a hunter or fisherman or anything, but he literally was yesterday. I kept getting text messages from him because he finally started listening
Sure.
to it. He's like, I love the podcast. I'm like, okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
haven't got really received any hate mail. I think I need to up my game a little bit.
You know what's funny? I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I've had one guy get all pissy because I did the one with Andrew Matthews, the senator. He shared it, basically said, "Oh, look at this swamp trash,
Yeah,
blah 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 blah
'cause
blah."
He didn't like his politics. or
Yeah,
whatever,
that's
yeah.
exactly why. Yeah, he doesn't like the guy whatsoever. But other than that, yeah,
And no matter what he said, he would have just poo-pooed it because he already doesn't like him. He already made up his mind.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
So
no.
So yeah,
Defi-
either we're both doing everything right and we're making everybody happy, or we're doing everything wrong, but nobody wants to tell us.
Well,
'cause
that could be. Maybe they're being polite. My brother is pretty much my biggest critic, so he'll be like, "Oh, I'll tell you one." So I told him I haven't got any negative ones. He's like, "Well, here's one," and then he gave me a bunch of stuff that he didn't like about it.
Yeah. No,
I said, "Yeah, well, you're my brother, so duly noted, duly ignored."
exactly. Yeah. No, I just try to keep it real. Don't bullshit people, because then they'll see through it anyway.
Well, I don't.
If you bullshit people, they're gonna
terrible
be
at
mad at
bullshitting.
you. If you're real, people will like you. If you are fake, people will like you until they find out that you're fake, and then they'll hate you. So what's the point?
Well-
and even if you're a jerk and people don't like you, but they respect you for being the jerk that you are, they'll still.
And I'm gonna, as far as this podcast is concerned, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna talk about what I like
Hey,
to talk
that's all you
about.
can do.
This is my podcast. I'm not beholden to any larger network. I'm not getting a dime for any
That's
of
the
these.
greatest
I have
thing.
Zero advertising at this point. I have nobody to answer to for myself.
Yep.
So if you don't like what we're talking about, or you don't like the fact that maybe I dropped the F-bomb one too many times, feel free to not listen to the next one.
Right.
I don't care, because I'm
Right.
going to do this from here probably till the end of time, whether people are listening or not, because I like talking to different people.
Yep.
And this gives me an outlet to do that, and I'm just going to keep doing it. So if people listen, that's awesome. Obviously, that's what I would like for it to happen.
Exactly.
Best case scenario.
Yep.
Worst case scenario, I just get to meet cool people.
Right.
So
far, I've
it's
met
a win-win.
Yeah. So far, I've met about 24 cool people.
yeah, really.
you know.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is. I mean it's pretty interesting. It's you kind of breaking into an industry that seemed unattainable when I
Right.
was just a consumer. It's like now. I mean, yeah, I'm in the fledgling stage, but I'm kind of like in the industry,
Yep.
if you will.
And here's
a little
something
bit.
to touch on real quick before we go. people that want to get into the industry, you don't have to be on a pro staff. You don't have to be a tournament fisherman. You don't have to be a professional hunter. You can do shit like this. Be a podcaster, be in radio, just do something different, and you can get in the quote unquote industry that way.
Yep,
and you're going to meet a ton of people.
Put your stuff, do what you like to do. Like
Exactly.
if you want to be like an Instagram influencer, okay, you're not going to start out with 20,000 followers, right? Go do what you like to do. Try to find an interesting spin to do on it. But like you said, be true to yourself. People are going to be attracted to that, and you're going to gain followers. And then once you get X amount of followers, you're going to start noticing that you get even more followers. Just be the way the algorithms work. You're coming across more people's feed.
Yep.
And next thing, it might take 10, 15 years if it happens at all. But that's how you start. There's no American Idol right now for the outdoor world. There's no way for you to step into, unless you can, out of pocket, join a BAS Open, and you actually win that sumbitch. That'd be about the only way I can think of where you would immediately kick down the door of the industry. And even then,
but still, yes.
If you fall flat on your face next year, you would be forgotten just as quickly.
Exactly. Yep.
So
yeah, just do what you love and be done with it.
Yeah, I've tried coming up with a little catchphrase for here, but it doesn't really stick.
No, you don't have to.
No, but in this vein, like I only think of it now because it's like what we're just talking about. It applies. It's like whatever your passion is, pursue it full scale. And that's kind of where the full scale outdoors thing came in. It's like, don't half-ass it. If that's the thing that makes you tick, go do that and do it with everything that you have, and you'll be successful. Whatever, depending on what you consider success.
And that's a good spot right there to end the show.
Perfect. Talk to you guys later.
See ya.